Welcome to the What They Won't Tell You podcast. I am the Honorable Armani, joined with a few guests.
It's your boy Mozzie.
Hi, I'm Leticia, TT.
Hey. Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm TT.
Hi, I'm Annabelle.
All right, so before we jump into some spicy topics, I want to start with just getting an understanding of how y'all feel about dating in general. From my perspective, from what I've read, experienced, seen, the men are saying that dating isn't worth it as much anymore. You hear statistics about 50% of men have stopped approaching women in the last year. 63% of men have quit dating. 1 in 3 men are either virgins or sexless in the last year. The men are pretty much just saying for the amount of effort they have to put into dating, they're not getting the value from women. From what I hear from women is that the men aren't as qualified. They're not up to their standards, whether that's physically, emotionally, financially, whatever the case is. They don't feel like it's enough qualified men. And so we're kind of the standoff where both sides are just like not getting what they want. And, there's implications to that in terms of like what happens to society if men and women aren't getting together. So I want to get y'all thoughts on like, what do you think about the current state of dating? Like, what's your experience? What's your perspective?
I think I fall into like what you just said. I'm not dating at all. I don't want to date. And I just feel like it's just the amount of energy and effort it takes right now. It's just the payback is not worth it. It's just not worth it at the end of the day. I'd rather be single and build myself up. And if that person comes along, it'll come along if God wills it. But aside from that, I'm not looking. I'm not forcing it.
Okay, so you feel like you're not getting, based on the effort you're putting in, you're not getting the same in return. Okay. What about you, TT?
I would say I feel like time is one thing, right? Like when you're busy and when you're thinking about how emotionally and time-consuming dating is, it just feels like what's really the point. But also similar to what you were saying, if you already know what you want and what you're looking for, it feels like what's even the point when you're not really seeing that initially. But then sometimes it's hard because if you're comparing it to other things where you meet someone, you click instantly and you're able to see it versus like the one, like the slow burning situation, sometimes you don't have the patience for that. But I will actually put some of the onus to myself. I feel like if I go, like I live here, I live in DC, I be going to the same exact places. So in that you're interacting with the same kinds of people. And it's like if I'm not liking who I'm interacting with, if it's not for me for whatever reason, then it is kind of on me to explore new places, and I haven't done that. So I think that's the part where I'd be like, okay, homework for TT.
Okay, so you take it onto yourself as like
just a little bit, not
a little.
all
right.
just that part. Just
Okay.
that part. Yeah.
All right. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I'm out the game myself, but from my experiences and what I saw, I think what's missing is intentionality. And I think that like a lot of people aren't intentional. On top of a lot of people are traumatized from their past experiences and haven't really healed. And so it makes it harder to find that match with somebody who's equally yoked and did the work. So you kind of had that issue. But as far as to y'all point as well as about not getting, I guess, what you're valued, I think a lot of people kind of give up because of that. And if you're not doing the personal work, it's going to be hard to find people who are valuable. And I think a lot of people need to start doing that homework, that personal soul searching, that purpose finding, so they can become better mates for people in their future. So,
Okay. All right. So,
I have a question about the stats you were saying at the beginning. When you said like men are not dating and lower percentages in dating, like what is dating? I know that's like hard to characterize when you're thinking about these stats, but like what's really considered dating? Because I feel like it's kind of different.
yeah, so 50% of men have not approached a woman in the last year.
Okay,
And then the
that's
other
just
one
approach,
was
period.
just approach.
Yeah.
And then 63% of men have decided to electively be single. Pretty much they don't want short-term, long-term situationship. They don't want any type of relationship with women. So they've chosen to go do other things, whether that's, focus on themselves, focus on their business, OnlyFans, whatever. They're getting They're getting
They
enjoyment
invested.
and fulfillment outside of women. They don't feel like there's any real reason to engage with women in any type of dating.
Even like cat, that includes like one night stand.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
nothing.
I feel that
because
way about
the other stat was 1 in 3 men are virgins between 18 and 24.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me for women though. It does surprise me for men.
Yeah.
But
Well,
then,
the
you're like,
women-
men, you got to be doing it with somebody.
So the women's stat,
That's the OnlyFans booming right now, though.
it is, yeah.
You be by yourself.
But the women's sexual situations, statistically that has remained the same, but the men have gone down.
Right,
So
okay.
what it shows is that the women are kind of sleeping with the same guys.
Okay.
You know, so that's just kind of where we're at. I want to talk about effort since everybody talked about effort. Do we
Yeah.
believe that chivalry is alive or dead?
I'm gonna let the girls go on this
I
one
think
first.
it depends on where you look. I have found plenty of men that are still very chivalrous, but I know that there are certain places where I'm not going to find that at all. Like my job, I'm a bartender at a nightclub. I know I'm not going to find the odds of me finding a chivalrous man in a nightclub is very low. But I have found them, so I know it's not dead. It's just not as common these days.
Yeah. I would just add to that, like, I don't think some of the men who used to be chivalrous got, I guess, the appreciation for it. And so it kind of like started to roll it back or dial it back. And it doesn't seem like it's as valued as it used to be. You know, sometimes you might hold the door and never get a thank you or something like that. Or, you know, you might take the initiative and pay the price for like the dates and stuff like that, and that might not be reciprocated. And so it's like, all right, well, I'm not getting value for what I'm doing, or maybe not even being noticed for what I'm doing. And so,
But that's the problem. You shouldn't be doing it to get something in return. You should literally be chivalrous just because you want to be a good man.
That's what I was gonna say.
no, and that's
Yeah.
that's all fine and well, right? But then a lot of times the nice person gets taken advantage of, and over time
For
you
sure.
feel the burden of that. Like, all right, well, I've been doing so good so long, and I haven't felt any appreciation, any flattery, anything coming for it. Am I doing it? Is it working for me? Do I see the benefit? And you kind of wrestle with that. And it's like, all right, well, if a lot of these dates I'm going on, I'm doing this and I'm not getting any reciprocity, any mutual investment, you know, is it really worth it? And then that's where a lot of dudes wrestle with, like, maybe it's not. It's not really benefiting me. You guys might like it, but I don't see winning from it, and so I change my tactic, which might be for some dudes don't even do it at all. You know, some dudes still express themselves that way. Some dudes are still traditional in that sense, but for the most men, if it doesn't benefit you, you're gonna stop doing it.
Yeah, but I would say like perceived chivalry is there, right? Like I think it happens to some people because people talk about it, but to me, I feel like it is the rare man that's not paying on a first date, right? Like even if you don't want to, on a first date, you're gonna pay. Is that wrong? You don't
What? The guy pay?
That it's a rare man that a man does not pay on the first
Oh
date.
yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
standard,
like
yeah.
even if you do not want to, even if the date was whack and you know you're not gonna see this person again, like most men are gonna pay, right?
Yeah.
And that's like perceived chivalry. Maybe you really didn't want to, but at the end of the day, it just feels like the thing to do.
I mean,
like,
that was taught, right? It
Yeah.
was a part of tradition as a man to take that initiative.
But
right?
but then
So if
it's
I'm
back to
ask-
what you were saying. Like, are you really chivalrous then? Like, I feel like people can act chivalrous, but are you chivalrous? I think those are like two different
I'm
things.
talking about the above and beyond, like a man throwing his jacket in a puddle. Like that era is over. You know
That's
what I
a
mean?
lost art.
Like
That's a lost art right there,
That
bro.
also goes
holding the
hand
car
in
door
hand.
open.
But that
Now-
I wouldn't like. I think to me, like very traditional senses of chivalry, I would literally be like, pick up your no. Like, you see, like certain little things like that, I'd be like, I don't know. But I will say, I actually agree with what you were saying about like, I don't know if I would say that a man is no longer chivalrous if he's pouring into something and then choosing to like reclaim his time and energy back. I actually wouldn't say he's no longer chivalrous.
He just might not see you as valuable enough to make the
and
investment.
I think that you can make that call. Like as a man who's dating, if you go out on 8, 10, 12, 15 dates with somebody and like you're not really feeling that energy in return.
That was too many dates in the first place.
You know,
Right, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
You know, but I do think
Yeah.
but I do think men would be chivalrous for the right person. You know,
Yeah.
and I think we have it because most men are traditionals, so they will take pride in taking that initiative and paying and all that. But if it's not appreciated or respected, that's where they kind of retreat. And I think that, like, if you're experiencing that, that might be because maybe there's no reciprocity, no investment on your end, no mutual interest. And so they feel like, why am I putting up so much and not getting anything in return?
Like the above and beyond for the right person.
Right.
I'm going to go the other way with this.
Go ahead. I know you want to go ahead.
When you look at the origins of chivalry, right? Medieval times, the reason...
I don't know the history, I guess.
You gotta break it down.
He gonna break it down for us.
Everything has a beginning,
There you
right?
go.
This is important. So
Facts.
in the beginning, medieval times when chivalry became a thing, it was because men knew what they were getting. They felt like they knew they were getting a woman that was pure. Most of the time, you know what I mean? She
This
was like
is the
a
beginning
virgin.
of Think Like a Man.
Hey, this is something never changed.
Right?
They knew that she was gonna be pure. They knew that she was gonna be young and receptive and agreeable and feminine and docile and all these things. Now what men are saying is like, why would I go above and beyond for women that have been sexually promiscuous and they're not, agreeable? They don't want to listen to a man's leadership and a vision, and they don't want to be a partner to me. They want to extract resources from me, and it's like the idea is that why would I go above and beyond for somebody that's trying to just take from me? And that's why a lot of men have left the dating scene. Now, Dave Chappelle said chivalry is dead and women killed it, and that's kind of like my belief too, because when you look as a man and you see that like women kind of gravitate towards the bad boys, right? Nice guys finish last. We've all heard this. What's the impetus to be the nice guy? Like, what's the driving factor? If I know that, I'm going to take this girl on a date, pay $300, $400, pull her chair out, open the car door. After the date, she's going to go back with Tyrone and get her back blown out.
Tough.
What's the reason for me to go above and beyond? And that's what's happening. That's what's happening right now.
But you got bad taste in women, because you should, like,
Hey, that's
how did you
tough,
get a girl
man.
that would do that? Like, if I'm going on a date with a guy, I don't have a guy at home that's going to blow my back out after the date. Like, that's the type of women that you're dating.
So here's the thing, right?
Now go ahead. Now I see your point though. It's not I see your point where it's just like, okay, I'm taking all this burden and putting this all this energy in and investing in the situation, and it doesn't really net me, I guess, anything in a sense, right? Like, I'm trying to advance in the situation with you, and I'm assuming you accepted this date because you were interested. And so because maybe there was some facade there, like there's a lot of like push and pull. So I'm not really getting anything from it, and maybe you're retreating, and then you go home with Tyrone, or somebody else gets easy access when I've been paid 4 or 5 dates through $300. It makes it feel like it's worthless.
And it may not. I'm not. Maybe y'all are different, right? But the stats show that from Tinder's perspective, right, 80% of men compete for the bottom 20% of women.
Damn.
On Tinder?
On Tinder.
Yeah, we
And
have the bad odds on
the
dating
top
apps.
22% of men.
Isn't Tinder like a
Hookup app?
app? It's not really like a... People aren't looking for relationships on Tinder. They're looking for, like, sexual encounters.
Some people are looking for relationships.
Okay.
It started like that. It started like that. Then it rolled into a
I think
after
it's
dark
turned-
kind of app.
Tinder is...
It started relationships.
It started off as
So the
like just
Hinge-
like Hinge, Bumble,
Oh, okay,
Tinder,
okay.
all like.
The Hinge statistics are similar. The engineers that worked on Tinder moved to Hinge. It's a similar thing. So, but what it shows is that, okay, the top 22% of men are getting 80% of women, the top 80% of women. So it's a situation where a small amount of men are attracting the majority of women. And so what I'm bringing it back to is like, these guys are taking girls on dates, and they may be paying for the Ubers, and they may be paying for the hair, the nails, and like really trying to do the right thing by society standards, but it doesn't land them the outcome that they want.
Yep.
If women have a different strategy of, I'm just gonna use this guy for his resources, and then I'm gonna go with the guy that I actually want, that's the bad boy that may not have the money, but he's the good time, he's the fun guy, he's the dominant guy.
But you don't feel like women can make a similar statement? Like,
As far as
I
men, yeah.
feel like women can also, and it's not to negate this, but
No,
women
yeah.
can also say, like, what's the value, worth, whatever, of being like the homebody that stays at home when men want to be outside with the bad bitches in the club every weekend? Like, women can make the same argument of like, do men really want a homebody? They be saying they want a homebody, but they want to be outside with the bitches that be outside every weekend.
If you ask a guy if he wants a virgin or a girl that's been sexually promiscuous, most of the time they're going to tell you they want a virgin, a girl that's pure. But at the end of the day, when you really get that girl who's pure and a virgin, you're gonna be like, oh, this is whack. She doesn't know how to suck dick. She doesn't know how to.
Get straight to it.
Let's
Get
go.
straight to it. Not
Go
way.
for it.
I
Doesn't
love
know
it.
how to like have
Get
good
straight to it.
sex. And oh yeah,
It-
okay, you can teach sex. You can't really. I mean, you can teach sex. I genuinely believe you can teach someone how to have good sex, but it's not going to be an easy thing. So I don't think men realize half of the time when they're upset that women aren't these pure virgins anymore. That like that's not really what you want. You don't really want someone that isn't comfortable with themselves sexually and is able to like satisfy all your sexual needs.
Well, it's more of a status piece. If you're the town who walk into the party with you,
We opened the door already.
we're going for it.
The door already open.
Not the town.
Get into it. Get into
If
it.
that's what you are, you know what I mean? And you're on my arm and I walk into the party with you and there's 5-6 guys in there that already had you. It doesn't look good on me.
But
That's,
you wouldn't do that though. You
Well-
wouldn't walk in with the town on your arm. You'd treat her like the girl of the night, and
that's my
you wouldn't
point.
be
So
chivalrous
men
towards
don't
her.
they don't want the promiscuous girl for the long term is my point. They want the girl that's the pure girl that nobody's ever touched. They never seen her. She doesn't come outside.
So how you gonna make her?
I do want to add context to her point though, because if you're a guy who is sexually promiscuous and you have preference, you don't really want a virgin. Like you want the characteristics of the virgin in that promiscuous girl, because you develop preferences. So you do want that sloppy top. You do want to blow the back out and she know what she's doing. But at the same time, you don't want to have to go through the ringer of teaching her and going through it in this years and years and years of the struggle.
You want her to only be the freak for
For you. That's really what it is.
That's
You
it.
still want that virgin characteristics, that wholesomeness, that like, I'm only for you.
Right.
The fear is if you get that promiscuous girl, she might be thinking of some nigga when you in there.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. You want all that to you. And so I
Right.
think that's the toss-up where like, dudes do say they want virgins, but they don't want that long-term for real. Because I'm like, if most dudes who have been promiscuous got a virgin, they wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, they'd cheat on her with the
The
town
girl
whore.
with
They'll
the, with
be
the,
in the
with
club
the
every
townhouse. Yeah, they've been in the
weekend
club on the
looking for
weekend.
the girls.
They
Like,
would, and I'm just saying,
absolutely.
and this is mainly to dudes who are hypersexual, top 20% dudes that have developed preference over the multitude of women they probably slept
But
with.
life is bigger than sex. The issue is, right, the promiscuous
It
girl
is.
is good for 15 minutes.
It's just that small point. That's
But
that's
the
all.
rest of your life, you have to do life with somebody.
But
And the
sex is a
promiscuous,
crucial part of your relationship.
if you're promiscuous, if you loose with your box, you don't make good decisions with your box.
That's
what
what I'm
else
saying.
don't you make good
My
decisions
only
with?
blend was the characteristics of that virgin. Because yes, with the promiscuous girl, you don't get the thoughtfulness. You don't get that. You
Right.
get poor choices.
Yeah.
But with the virgin girl, you don't get poor choices. So it's like, how do you want both really, but you can't get that. It's like you're in a tough spot because if you're sexually promiscuous as a guy, the virgin girl might not satisfy you, but then the promiscuous girl not a good long-term fit.
Well, the idea is that you just teach the virgin girl to do it the way you want it
And
to be done.
and that's
And
why.
then-
But that
dudes-
dichotomy is the same dichotomy that you said between Tyrone and the nice boy loser.
Okay.
That's literally the same dichotomy.
Break it down.
You just said something about how girls be going out on a date with. You didn't say loser. I added that, but you said something about how girls be going on dates
With
with,
a
like a
generous
really
dude.
nice guy, super nice, all of that, and then they going home and getting their back blown out by Tyrone, right? I think that dichotomy that we're talking about here,
Yeah.
between the virgin girl and the promiscuous girl, is the same thing as that.
Like the-
and of course, a woman, if you have the choice between the Tyrone that you was describing and the nice guy, like obviously you want components of both, just like you
Yeah.
said. Like, I think this it's the same thing.
I do
really
agree
do.
that in today's day and age, in our generation, women are a little too loose with sex, and it's become like an okay thing. Like,
Yeah.
we have the slut walk and like telling women to, be more comfortable. I am all for, have sex if you want to have sex with whoever you want to have sex with, but I don't agree with like the way that some women and like parts of the culture have taken it to a whole other level. I'm still always going to believe that if you're having sex with more than 2 people in like a 2-month span, it's just too much. Like I agree with have sex if you want to have sex, be sexually open, do whatever you want with your body, but you shouldn't be going out crazy. And I think because of these things that we allow now,
Yeah.
it's why men are feel like it's less worth to them. Like women are not worth as much to them because of all of these things. But it goes the same way for men too. Like what you guys don't want in women, like, we don't want in men either. This day and age, men who have money want to be able to have multiple women. They don't want to settle down. They don't want to be with just one girl. They want to have, like, all the girls, you know? So it's like you put all your effort into one guy, and he's, like, putting his effort into multiple women.
I mean, that might be a small percent of dudes, though. Cause
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Because
Who don't?
I feel
like
like
the dudes, it's a very small subset of dudes that have the ability to sleep with multiple women.
Oh.
The majority of the dudes aren't even in that ballpark to deal with that. So it's just, I guess, like you said, depending on where you're going, you're probably meeting the same types of dudes, and that's why your experiences are kind of all like similar. But most guys don't have that ability.
From a statistical standpoint, right? Like, if I just take two stats, men that are over 6 feet tall and men that make six figures, what
A
percentage?
man that has both of those qualities, you're saying?
Let's separate. How many men do you think are over 6 feet?
like 25%.
No, I think it's less than that.
In this country, right?
It's less than that? Or it's about that?
It's less. It's 14.
Yeah, I knew it was less than that.
So you got 14%
Yeah.
of men that are 6 feet or above. How many men do you think make $100,000 a year or more? That's close.
10 or something? I was gonna say like 10%.
17% of all men. If you look at black men, Hispanic men, it's less than 10%. So you just take those two stats, 17% and 14%. That's less than 3% of men that are just 6 feet tall making six figures. So when y'all date men and y'all kind of, you may date the same type of men over and over again. You don't see the average guy that's 5'7" making $40K who just wants one girl. He just wants something. Like, y'all talk about the guys that want 3-4 girls that's cheating, that's running the streets. Most guys
But why
aren't
would
getting
I want
anything.
somebody that just wants something? Like, why would I even, why?
See what I mean? But most men are average men. Most men are making
I mean, that's true.
$40,000 to $45,000 a year, 5'8", 5'9". They're like, most people are just regular people, but women only see the guys at the top, and then they use that experience to extrapolate and say, "Oh, all men are
Stereotype.
running
Yeah,
through everything."
yeah, no.
Like, no, most men are not getting anything.
Aren't you saying the same thing about women, though? You're saying that most women are like the town whore and they're not
I didn't say that. I wouldn't put
See,
that
that's
on
how-
you.
You said most women are either virgins or 10.
I'm talking to Mike.
Most women right now are not pure. They're not like, you're saying that men don't want to put in the effort because they feel it's not worth it based on these women. It's the same thing you just said.
For what? Men are not
Like,
qualified to women's standards?
yeah, women.
I mean, from women's standards, y'all have like a long checklist of things that y'all want in a man, right? Men typically have like a short checklist of
What?
like,
What's the
she,
checklist?
It's like 3 things, to be honest.
does she like me?
3 things?
It's like,
I don't
not
think
that
so.
much. We count on our hand, to
No,
be honest.
y'all be saying that, but in practice it's more. But go ahead, let's see 3 things, or you maybe have more. But
It's really like, does she like me? Is she willing to be cooperative with me? That's pretty much it. I mean, if she halfway
he's
decent,
lying
like if
right now.
Hey.
He's lying right
she
now.
like halfway decently attractive,
Does she like me? And what was the second one?
it's not that much.
You know what
though.
you sound like? You looking for something, anything. Like that's not true. Men are a lot pickier than they.
No, we're not that picky. We're simple.
All right, so what's your?
We're
let's
We're
hear
really,
your 3.
we're really simple. All right. Listen. I'm not being political. I'm just saying. I know. But but for real, I mean, I told her this too. Like, I believe that attractiveness is very important because I gotta look at you all day until I die. So that's important. I'm not gonna lie, sex is important. You know what I mean? And agreeableness, I think, kind of bundles in a lot of the things that I like.
That's pretty much it.
Pretty much like, are you cooperative? Are you agreeable? We work together? Are you defensive? Are you combative? I don't want none of that. You know what I mean? But if we can start off with, she looks really good, we can have good sex, and she's agreeable, we can work and build the other things that I need for the empire.
Okay, I liked your. I mean,
But it's a little more than that because
No, I was
I
gonna say,
got
you
some
wanna-
preferences. Like,
Yeah.
she got to be able to cook because I prefer a woman cooking for me. I'm not saying that's the standard, but that's what I prefer.
But it's not a non-negotiable.
It's not non-negotiable. Right.
But the
Yes,
higher
it's
The
not.
caliber
first three are
man.
non-negotiable.
The first three are non-negotiable.
You gotta be
Yes,
attracted to
yes.
them. Yeah, okay.
Yes,
I got
yeah,
you.
we understand. Yeah,
But this
Okay.
is the thing: the higher caliber of man you are, the more that you can demand.
Yes.
So,
Which is what I was about to get to in major cities too. How you were talking about like the crop of 6 foot and or
6
making
figures.
100,000,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. And God forbid you have both, right? Now you're
a
in a
unicorn
pool,
right there.
right? Now you're in a pool of people, or you're in a situation where you're in. I don't know what percentage it would be, but let's say something like 5% or something. I don't know. I'm making small percentage. If you have both, now every woman is interested in you because I honestly I do agree with you. I feel like women do when they have a preference.
But would you treat that nigga like he's a unicorn though? Because I'm saying if you
No.
know that it's a 3% chance.
Because I'm the unicorn.
That's what I'm
No,
saying
there
though.
we go.
But
Nah, I'm kidding.
that's what I'm saying though. If it's a 3% nigga,
No, I
You
won't.
ain't-
I wouldn't.
listen,
Because
you
your
know,
head
you
is
know the
already
hate-
too big. If you
he
already,
can still be humble. He can still be like a
but
dude.
that's now extra
A
unicorn.
real dude who really
Extra
grind,
unicorn.
a real dude who really grind up.
I'm talking to the microphone.
If I found a unicorn, I might bow down. I don't know.
Come on, sis. That's what we need. That's what I'm saying.
That's
They
not-
want to hear that.
Yeah, the men want to
I
hear
just
that.
feel
They want to hear that. That's what I'm saying.
Do you
Give me
think that
something.
they'll be receptive to that though? Be honest, because I feel like a lot of men who fit into that.
But which ones you talking about though?
I'm talking about like a man that's like over 6 foot,
Mm-hmm.
making 6 figures. Even just those two categories, like.
But wants
obviously
to
if
be
you're
in a
making 6 figures,
relationship
but
with one person.
that last part, I don't think is like quite there. Like,
It-
I-
no, it's-
But
it's-
this is the th-
Go ahead, sorry,
This is
my
the thing.
bad.
When you become a 3% man that y'all are talking
that's,
about.
and that's what I'm saying.
But wait, let me break it down.
I'm a
That's not
3%, I need a
adjusted
shirt.
for. That's not
That's why I
adjusted
ain't bowing
for.
down, because I get it. Like,
Well, wait. He
you
about
do
to
you.
he
Go
about to
ahead,
add
go ahead.
spice to it. He
But
about to add
that's
spice
not
to it.
adjusted for his sexual orientation, his marital status, relationship status.
Oh, you're right.
Geographic
We're not
location.
even there yet.
That's not adjusted for is he funny? Is he charming? Does he have game? That's not adjusted for what is his sex game like? That's not adjusted for any of that. Then you add those things in. Is he physically fit? You add all that in. Now you're really looking at a
But
unicorn.
that's why I wouldn't bow down, because to me, even like, I just feel like, okay, I will
So
say
if
this.
he's 6 foot, 6-pack, he in shape, he got his head on straight, he has all these traits and qualities. He shivers, maybe he's stoic. Like that doesn't like that. That's like a 0.01% type guy that you met and came across.
But to me, I need you to be like down to earth. Like, I feel like you said a whole bunch of things, but what's
Maybe
your
the paper.
personality?
Okay, maybe
like?
the paper look good.
Like,
I mean,
what's the
you can't.
personality like?
I can't
I
account
need
for
to-
that though, because who knows?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
But
And that's why it's
what
hard.
if? But what if he had the personality you liked? What if he
What
was?
is the question? What would
Because
I
I'm
do?
saying,
Funny,
if you
cool,
found the
calm,
perfect
do
guy,
you-
you wouldn't bow down. I feel like I would.
But
because
is he-
in a world
I mean, he
where
might not
the
be
men
perfect,
are
but he got-
shit,
Y'all
not-
haven't said loyal, faithful.
All right, we can say 1,000 traits. He's everything. Give him everything.
But when
Okay,
you
well, then
become
that's-
that,
All right,
that's your person.
Michael
That's
B.
a-
Jordan, 6 foot tall. You know what I mean? I mean, is he a standard of quality nigga?
This
Is
is
he
my
not?
thing. This is my
That's
thing.
That's
You gotta
exactly
go
what's
hard.
wrong with dating right now. People
happened?
will find someone that is actually worth like settling down for, and then not submit to it or give into
There
it
you go.
either because of trauma from previous relationships,
Self-sabotaging.
self-sabotaging.
so
So what you saying then, right? Because you're saying if you found that same unicorn, why wouldn't you feel like
No, at that point,
motivated to want
Is he
to
the prize
pour
at that
into
point?
him?
at that point, that's my person. I'm gonna go above and beyond.
No,
If
but I
really
mean,
found,
what you mean? I mean, because before he's your person, y'all
Oh,
interacting.
if you just meet.
I just got your number. We texting. We cool. You know all these characteristics about me. You know, at that point, would you be like, damn, I need to really like invest in this dude out the. I don't want to mess this up.
You getting some energy and yeah, you getting some energy. I'm not gonna about that, but that you
Is
get
he
some
the-
energy though.
TT, is he the prize? Is he the
I don't know. I don't.
Here we
He
go.
might be the prize. He might.
There you go. There we go. There we
He
go.
we
might be
got
prize.
to it.
There
But
you go.
I just feel like, to me, toward in the beginning, right?
Right.
We're talking about just the beginning. If you my man and you the prize, I'm gonna tell you, like, you're gonna feel like
But
the prize.
I gotta
I'ma
get to
break
your
it
man.
down.
I gotta get to being your man, though.
But if it's just the beginning and you have all of these things, and in my head, you really are the prize, that you really could be the prize. But if I'm just still getting to know you, I don't need to gas your head up yet. Because to me, I feel like you kind of your head is already too big.
But you
It's-
don't know
it's
that. Though.
already-
You don't know that though. Because a lot of times, unicorn.
Well,
a lot of times,
I
unicorn.
like to keep
I feel like that's the self-sabotage.
I mean, unicorn dudes sometimes I know they're unicorns. They
Maybe,
just
okay,
they
I would
feel
say
like normal
maybe it's
people.
like a trusting thing then. I just like
That
to like
is the
tread
self-sabotage.
lightly.
I want
Like,
to
don't
delve
need
into
to-
this.
Go ahead,
But
no, go ahead,
Since
dive.
you bring it up,
That's the self-sabotage.
I've been waiting for you to say
I want to
that.
tread lightly. Like you can't just be too open.
what's the
I don't know.
reason that women fear masculine men right now? What we're seeing in society is that like when men are masculine, they're demonized, and a lot of times, from my experience, what I see out is the women are going for the guys that they can control. They don't want to be in a situation where a man has any type of power or leadership over them. But traditionally in society, women wanted men that were leaders. And so I want to ask y'all,
That's a good
is
question.
there a fear that women have of a man being a leader and having power over them? And is that driving how women are moving and dating?
I don't, but I think the women that do go for that are either highly traumatized and they fear things like, you know, when you're so good to a guy and you're with him for years and then you get older and then he leaves you for a younger girl type situation. And we've seen that happen so many times. So it's like, I think that's what women are trying to like avoid when they do stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, I feel like what woman really wants to be with a man that's not masculine? Like, why would you want, unless you're a lesbian or you prefer like more feminine traits, like why would you not want a masculine man other than, you know, for the other, what I just said, like the back end, like what's gonna happen?
So we see a lot of times like the women want the men that like bow down to them. So I want a man that caters
You
to
can
me.
bow down and still be masculine.
They want the man that does everything for them,
And they don't have to do shit.
and they don't have
back.
to do anything back.
That's
I want
crazy.
the man that pays for
That's
my
what's
hair,
wrong.
my
Your
nails.
money is my money,
That's
my money is my
delusion.
money.
It's
That's
that.
delusion. Those like we genuinely have to tell people that, like, and women if it's just women, but it's also men too. Like, you're being delusional. Like, that's not right. Somebody can't just pour all into you and you do nothing for them. It should be equal on both sides. So if men aren't dating because the majority of women want to take and give nothing in, yeah, that's wrong. If
Yeah.
The society's saying, Cardi B, I don't cook, I don't clean, and I still got a ring. And the women are hearing that saying, okay, well, if she did it and she's the hottest
Cardi B
rapper.
doesn't cook and clean because she's rich and she can pay somebody to do it. So at the end of the day, if she wasn't rich, she'd probably be cooking and cleaning for her man. She's that type of woman. She was raised in a Hispanic culture. So I do believe that, like, people are just taking things into context.
Yeah,
the
she
wrong
caters
way.
to her
Cardi
man in
B
her own
caters
ways, I'm
to her
sure.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also recorded her cooking and cleaning and put it on the internet. It's just a facade that
They lied to
they
you.
lie.
And
It's
people
not.
believe them wholeheartedly.
Like, y'all
All the
gotta
hot
stop
girls
believing
are in
what's on the
relationships.
internet.
Meg Stallion said it.
But I
You
will
gotta
say
stop
this,
believing what's on the
yeah.
internet. Like, the being not cooking and cleaning is not cute. I don't care about that shit. Like, it's not cute. I don't like women that are prideful about not cooking and cleaning. Like, that's like a man being prideful about not being masculine. Like, it's just weird. Like,
Right.
as a woman, you should want to cook and clean. I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying it's an obligation, but like, and like people get so mad about gender roles, but like as a woman, you should want to cook and clean for your man. Like,
Right.
you wanting to be like, no, I'm not cooking or cleaning for any man. It's just kind of like,
So what the
weird.
women are saying is like that's slavery, and like we live in a different era
tough.
right now.
They be saying
I've had
that.
that
I
comment
tell you.
under
That's
my
exactly
one of
what's
my
wrong with
videos
people.
that marriage and submissiveness is slavery.
Didn't they cancel Beyonce at some point for her?
The Cater to You, they tried to cancel that and
That's
say
a good song,
that was a
too.
slave
love that song.
That's
Okay,
what I'm
but this
saying.
is my thing. Back to your question about, I feel like I am pretty much only attracted to masculine men. Like, I feel
There we
like
go.
for me, I need to be with a man that can lead. I feel like I'm a very independent person in my day-to-day. In my relationship, I need to be able to lean on my man, and he should be able to guide me, and I should trust that. Like, to me, that is part of feeling like trust in a relationship. But men just be thinking just because you a man that you masculine and you can lead me where? Like, what are
Yeah.
your plans? What are your I feel like that to me is the part where I feel maybe women be like, oh no, I'm smarter than you. Like, I'm gonna control, or I'm gonna do this, and maybe having the like anti-masculine like persona or traits, because I feel like men sometimes would just be like, oh, because I'm a man, I'm masculine, and that's not the case. Like, what do you bring to the table that makes me feel like you could lead me? Because I'm not just going in blind. So I feel like that's the part where it's a little like, you have to earn the leader status. You have to like show me that you can lead, and men don't like that. Men are like, okay, well then you lead. All right, but then you was never a leader.
So the issue is, okay, women are now advancing in their careers, they're getting degrees, they're making money, they're doing their own thing. As women have advanced in society, their options go down. And so now, back to my point of like, as you make more money, if you're a woman and making 6 figures, you want a man that's making more than you. Well, you know what I mean? You're looking at less than 3% of men. And then you want him to be all these different things. And then because you feel like you're doing your own thing and you're making your own money, you're probably even less likely to be as agreeable with that type of man because you're like, I'm her too.
I feel like all the girls I know that are in their bag and make 6 figures date men that they can control. So, yeah. They date men that don't make as much money as them most of the time. I do agree with that.
See? I mean
that is like not my.
You've never seen that with your friends or
No,
family?
no.
Like,
I'm talking about me personally. I feel like to me, I would not want to date a man that makes less money than me just so I can control him. Like that's.
but like friends.
It's not. I'm not saying it's like just so she can control him, but it's like
that's
as a
just what the
woman-
dynamic ends up being.
Yeah, because as a woman, when you're making that much money, it's obviously hard to find a man that's making more money than you. The men that you are finding that make more money than you are not, like relationship. So when you do find a guy that is willing to be in a relationship and he doesn't make as much money than you, and
But you're right. I'm thinking about other people now, and I think that may be.
I think women end up dating
that may be the case.
men that make less money than them in those type of situations because it's like you've already gone so far in life, like creating your future, your career, making all of this money, working so hard for it. You don't necessarily have the time to invest into building another person up. Like, as a woman, when your man is making more money than you, you're kind of like investing in him, helping him build too, and building him up, helping whatever he got going on get bigger. If you're that person that's making the more money, you're the one that needs the help and the assistance. So you need someone that's catering to you and helping you get that bag. So in those situations, I think that's why those women date men that make less money than them. But I wouldn't say it's like a thing that's happening right now.
And I kind of do see that, and I don't think it's intentional because, like you said, if the pool is small, if you're making 6 figures, like you said, if you're a woman making 6 figures, if you want a man to be making more than you, the pool is small. So maybe unintentionally, you may be ending, I don't know.
You end up dating a man that's not making as much as you. But I don't necessarily think women do it because, they want to control the man or they prefer men that they can control. I think that's just how it ends up being. Like, as a woman who makes 6 figures, what are the odds of you finding a man that makes more than you and wants to be with one person and settle down and be in a relationship? It's very low.
I wanna take it back to our last episode. We had a moment where we talked about men flying women out for first dates.
Oh, I saw that clip.
I'm gonna just say it. Simp culture has
flying out for first dates.
first dates.
He calls it simp culture.
Simp culture is taking over.
I don't think that's simp culture.
Wait,
because
fly you out on a first date?
First date.
I
don't
feel
even
like
know
to
you
me,
like
I don't know.
that.
I've
I
never
got your
met you.
number.
That's
and
how I
said,
feel. I don't know
wait,
you. I don't
booked you in a
trust enough to
club,
go.
and I flew you to my city just to meet you.
No.
That's
Or
tough.
no, I
I
just met you on
necessarily call
Instagram.
it simp
Oh.
culture because
Come on.
there
You leave
are
with your wallet.
some men that just have enough money to do that. Like,
Then make your money make my money. I mean, is that all good? I mean, you might as well put $20K on the floor if you really.
But I said this last time. Is like, a person who leads with their primary commodity is a low value person.
That's
A
true.
woman that leads with her box is a low value woman. A man that leads with his wallet is a low value man. Yeah. As a man, your resources are everything. As a woman, your vagina is everything. So.
It's not okay. We get it. It's not everything.
It's not everything,
but it's your superpower.
It's a superpower.
Just like
It's the-
resources are superpower.
It's the trump card.
It's a yes.
It's the trump card. We're
It's
not about to act like women don't want
They
men
try
that's
to
making a bunch
cancel
of
your-
money and no. It's the trump card. So any person that leads with their primary commodity out the gate, you're talking about a man on the first date, he just wallet. That's probably because he has nothing else to offer. He doesn't have
I
any
don't
type
agree
of.
with that because I feel like, for one, flued out culture, when you're getting flown out by a guy you don't know, it's probably not to be in a relationship. It's probably to sleep with him, have a good time, and then go back home.
But doesn't
and
that
do your
sound
thing.
dangerous though? You know what I mean? Because
It
I
doesn't
mean,
sound
women are a lot more
dangerous.
vulnerable. So to go to another city where you meeting a man, you got no girls, no backup, no male friends to swoop in and save the
I
day
haven't
of
done
worst
that.
case.
I've never been flown out to have a one night stand or sleep around. I've been flown out on the first date by someone that wanted to be in a relationship with me.
Oh, okay.
So cool, but I would never let a guy fly me out. Let's be like, oh, I don't know you, but I want to fly you to Turks and Caicos this weekend. Let's have a good weekend. Like, I'm not that type of girl. You can't fly me out for a good time. But you can fly me out to get to know me.
But they don't
you know?
lead with, I'm flying you out for, you know what I mean? They're not leading like
But
it's
men
prostitution.
know. Men know.
Well, I mean, but
what
how's that
type of
conversation?
woman-
It's
just
that's
like,
what I'm
hey,
saying.
come,
Based
I'm
on the
show you a good
conversation,
time.
you know what you're getting. Like, you
But
can
doesn't it
get
sound
flown out and
transactional,
give
though?
no box. I've gotten flown out plenty of times and had no sex.
Really?
Men know who and what they're flying out when they do it. So, like,
Like,
I don't know.
obviously they hoped for it, but they wasn't like 100%.
Any man
Well, I'm
that's
just
flown me
saying,
out, no.
if you, I mean, yeah, like, even if I got the money, wouldn't I want it to be more convenient? Wouldn't there be a girl in the city that I wouldn't have to fly out?
You don't
If
have
I
Maybe-
wanted to-
maybe
you
the
don't
girls
have
in
it
the
like
city
that.
are
All right, but
That's
if I don't
fucked
have
up.
the game, do I gotta spend the 20? I can probably get the girl for $5K.
If you don't have the
in
game,
my
you
city.
gotta spend the money. If you don't have it on, if you don't have the value on one side, you gotta use what you got, and they using the money to lead, and that's the problem.
But
with
then
the
it's
game.
like,
I think
but
that-
would you really be interested in a dude? Like, would you take a dude serious if he was spending money like this? Like, would you feel
Yeah, I have
secure
before.
long term if this is how he's spending his money?
I have before, and
Oh.
it worked out. But, like, my thing is when people say that flying out is simp culture, I feel like the people that say that are the people that can't afford to just fly out a different girl every week.
But why is
But
it
the
simp
men,
culture?
that's what I'm saying. The men that do fly out women, fly out a different girl every week, they're not simping these girls. They're not doing shit for them. They're
That's how
actually
I-
fucking on
yeah.
them and then fucking multiple bitches and doing terrible, like, doing
It's
their
honestly
thing.
the opposite
So
of
I don't
simp
believe
culture.
it's simp culture in
I
any
mean,
way, shape,
all
or
right,
form.
so okay, in that sense, in the sense of, oh, you know, I'm just getting cheeks. In the men world, like, game is what really puts you on top of the charts. Like, it's not about the money. Anybody can get money and spend it. I could be in debt spending money to fly girls out, but it takes real character and courage and game to actually approach a woman and woo her based on your humor or your interest or whatever it is. And so that's why I would label it simp culture, because it's like, oh, I don't have to think. I don't want to have to put work. I can just throw money in her face and she going to listen to me.
Any man
Or like
can
those
throw-
Dubai girls who just pay you to come over here. I'm going to shit on you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I throw money on you. I don't really need any game or character or courage. It's just the money. So
Men
it's not
applaud
like,
skill. That's
Yeah,
the
we
reason
respect
why
skill.
it's not respected when women have sex with multiple men because, or a large amount of men, because it's like there's no skill. A woman can go outside, raise her hand, and say, "I want to have sex with somebody," and guys will come flying. As a man, you're only getting sex if you provide value to society. If you're somebody that women admire, or sexually attracted to, desire, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, most men are not getting it. It's only the men at the top. So if you're a man at the top and you're getting all the women, that's a skill set. That's skill that comes with that. So a man that leads with his wallet and just pays for sex, like nobody's looking at that like he's him.
yeah.
Paying for sex is not
Yeah.
something that guys
We don't get
look at
excited.
like,
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to pay.
He's him,
I
bro.
can't
He
wait.
paid for it, yo.
And it's not about the money part. 'cause I
But no
know,
one's
like,
thinking,
yeah,
oh, he
some
paid
dudes
for
got the
sex.
money.
I want to be his girlfriend. Like, no one is thinking that.
What
I
you
want to
mean?
be in a relationship with him.
that's my point.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not. That's not what y'all want. Y'all don't want the guy that is ultimately the simp guy that's just leading with his wallet. That's not the guy that you want to lock down long term. But the game is messed up because that's what's happening. Like, women are just going out and getting these experiences and they're getting flued out, but they're not getting the long term results that they want. Because at the end of the day, it's about what's the outcome you want. If you want to be married to a man that you expect, admire, and revere, who's, you know, the 6-foot guy or the 6-figure guy who's the high value guy, getting flown out is not the track to get there, because he's not going to be the guy that you want anyway. The
But
guy
maybe
that
that's
you
not what
really
they
want
want.
doesn't lead with his wallet.
If you're intentionally just trying to have casual hookups, that's a cool experience. If that's what you want, you know. But it's like if you're going that other route, that might not lead you. Just
If
like
you knew
said,
Michael B. Jordan was paying for sex, would he still be Michael B. Jordan?
he wouldn't be. You wouldn't look at
Nobody's
him with
looking
the
at
same
him
you're
level
right.
of inspiration. Like,
Because
damn.
you would be like, that's a little corny.
It's corny.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Y'all know he's him. You believe he's him?
It's like,
You know what I mean?
you respect him, his craft, the level of effort he's put into what he's done, his career. You know, but if you knew he was paying for all the girls, it just would feel like
He
that.
gets it off his own merit.
He ain't got it off his. That's what. See, we believe in merit.
Yeah.
That's
We
what
believe in
no,
the
no, no.
meritocracy.
Blood, sweat, and tears is how you get it. That's what's respected. You know,
I don't
not
know.
somebody whose daddy
I think
handed
it's
him a few
easy to
million.
get pussy. It's hard to get a relationship.
It's easy to get
It's-
pussy.
For who?
It's easy to get.
When I said
No.
I think so too.
It's hard to get
But
a
when I
relationship.
said 1 in 3 men are virgins or sexless in the last year, how is it easy?
Niggas is not getting cheeks at
Explain
all.
that to me. You put 3 men in a room, one of them hasn't gotten cheeks
I just
in
be
a
wondering
year.
where this
Niggas
where
is beating
these
they meat for
statistics
real.
come
They're all
from.
linked
Where
in the video. They're on the
One,
screen right now.
wait, 1 in 3 single men, right?
Yeah,
Obviously.
yeah.
Really?
if we talk about
Listen,
the DMV,
in the male space,
if we're
there's
talking
a-
about the DMV,
I don't know. I don't
No,
know
the
this
United
this is the
States,
US.
the man that works at TJ Maxx, he's not getting cheeks.
He's not.
The man that's making,
but the girl that works at TJ Maxx,
She getting
she's
blown
getting
out.
blown out by somebody.
Somebody. Let me tell you
getting-
something.
the girl that works
Wasn't
at
there like a
TJ
viral
Maxx?
post about this
that's
badass
the
Home
problem.
Depot girl?
But
Depot
is she
girl.
The
getting
Home
a
Depot
man?
girl. That's
Is she getting a ring? Is she getting a man? Is she getting respected?
Shaq was shooting his shot at
Shaq
that
shot
Home
at a girl that worked at Home Depot, Shaquille O'Neal.
15
He didn't
hour.
want to be with her though. He just wanted to fuck her.
Let me tell you something.
That's the problem.
This is the difference, though. We
He didn't
see
wanna
this in
wife her.
society too. The king can make any woman a queen. A queen can't make any man a king.
There you go.
Men are cool with
There
finding
you
a
go.
girl at Home Depot. If she's willing to be on his program, he will build her up.
That's it.
Women
If
are
she
not
hit
cool
the 3,
with.
That's what I'm saying. No, but I'm just saying, if she hit the 3, she cute, the
But
box
that's what-
good,
but
and
that's-
she agreeable.
That's
I
what-
work with the Home
yeah.
Depot. I get you a job.
And nobody knows her. She came from a small town.
But that's the
even better.
masculine thing that you were just talking about. Like men should build themselves up and then build up a woman. Women should not be building up men.
So let's get into it.
There we go.
Like
this
what?
But then we had this
We had this
conversation. Yeah,
conversation.
okay.
But-
Yeah. Can we? Now maybe let's restate the question just so we
Yeah.
can, you know what I mean?
Is there a double standard when it comes to a man building up a woman versus a woman building up a man?
I think men should build up women, and women should not build up men.
And why do you
We
Well,
believe
can
can
elaborate, 'cause
support
I wanna
you.
know what
I think I can support you while you're building yourself up. I can be there for you and support you. I should not be building you up though. As a man, if you want to be a masculine man, you should be building yourself up, doing it for you, and then building your family up. But like gender roles, medieval times, back in time, whatever, women are not the people that are building the men.
But why not? Y'all are making the most money y'all ever made in your lives. You got the most degrees. Y'all are the highest that you ever been in society. Why not?
I mean, because if you go back to what he was saying about, like, I don't want to go back to the evil days, but women weren't working. So we had to do that work. Now we evolved. You guys are out earning us to a degree. Like, would it not be in the same vein, like, all right, well, I want a man, even though there might not be a lot of polished brothers out there, maybe just polish one up for myself. You know what I mean?
I think
like,
the girls that make a lot of money are kind of.
I feel like what
but
is
doing
being
it while-
required of this building?
I mean,
What do
doing it
women have
without
to
feeling
do?
like you're settling, though. You know what I mean? Like,
Because I will say, I feel like I do believe in, like, we can motivate each other and build each other, but that I wouldn't consider that like I'm building you up. Like, to me, building someone up is like you have no motivation, no drive, no nothing, and I'm just over here like, oh my God, I saw this, like maybe you should do that. Like, to me, I couldn't do that.
Right.
Because to me, it's like your motivation and your drive, and I couldn't be attracted to you if you don't have some sort of like motivation, drive, etc. But let's say you do have motivation, drive, etc., and something awful happens and you've lost it, right?
right.
You're down bad, whatever. Of course, you're my man, of course, right? But I don't think that's what you're saying.
Let me ask you, what's your professions, by the way?
I'm a bartender at Rose Bar.
I'm a lawyer.
I
All
also
right,
have
so-
my own business. I'm not just a bartender.
Okay, even
but-
better, right? So you're a businesswoman.
there we go.
Let's say you meet a man, he's a teacher, he's making $40K a year, and as a businesswoman, you know that, being a teacher is not the most lucrative job for the long term. And you say, I want to help you build a business as a tutor with tutors under you, and you can have an app and you can have all this stuff. If you built that man from being a teacher to being a successful entrepreneur, women will look at you and be like, why would you do that? Why would you go and build a man? He should be building you up. But as a man comes and a man builds up a woman,
Yeah.
that's applauded in society. That's expected.
right.
Not to bring my own personal experience into it, but I did build up a man, and then when he started making millions of dollars, he started cheating on me. So it's like, what? I was with him when he had nothing and we was broke, and then while we were together, I taught him how to save money, and he became super rich, and then he started having access to women that he didn't have access to before because he had all this money. So yeah, maybe that's why women don't do it, because when you build up a man, once he gets up where he wants to be, he's going to leave you for the women that he couldn't get
They
before.
use their primary,
so
whatever you said.
I get that, and I agree to that for sure. But I also think that, like, most men are defined by their character, and maybe he was kind of like that before he had the money, and maybe you couldn't see the
That's
flags.
true.
So then when he came, because money kind of makes you more who you are. And you're a douche,
That's it.
you become more of a douche. If you're a really wholesome, stoic person, maybe you become more generous.
Yeah.
And I think that if he turned that way, it could have just been maybe we didn't see it. And maybe you were a little younger at that point, so maybe you weren't thinking about all those things. And then he just was a natural jerk that was broke. So he put the facade on as a good dude. And then he made money, and then he became who he truly was. And that happens, though. It's an unfortunate situation that you put in effort for naught. But you know,
I think that's the main reason why
Yeah.
women don't want to build up men, because unfortunately that is what happens. Like, that's the main outcome.
I mean, it's risk to love.
Most men aren't going to get built up and then, appreciate it and stay with the woman that built them up.
You never know, though, right? I mean, it's risk.
You don't know. I'm just
we
saying
take risks
it's
going
possible.
into it. You take risks.
But
It
in
could
today's
happen.
generation and the men that we have right now, it's not common. It's possible. It's
Yeah.
there. You can find it, but it's not common.
I mean, in
I
this
think-
today's world, what we grew up with knowing as the staple of what we were looking for isn't common either. Like finding two people who are trying to be monogamous and really trying to be faithful and loyal to each other, that's really hard to find. That's
I
not
think that's
common
one of
either.
the biggest issues in like dating overall. Like, all of these issues that we have with dating really come down to like monogamy and people having more access to women or men just from the palm of their hand. You can
Yeah.
have a whole fake life, a whole family, and a whole relationship from your phone.
Yeah.
And because of that, like, we have all these issues in dating now.
And with that, I feel like people are finding it harder to feel fulfilled.
Exactly.
Like in the medieval days, like you said, men were doing those things, yes, maybe out of like interest and whatever, but at that time, all the women were virgins. So they had to do these things to get that. I feel like now a lot of things are more accessible, a lot of people are more accessible, experiences, etc. So the whole monogamous situation is not seeming appealing to everybody.
You know, they said the casual hookup culture fucked us up. Back then they weren't casually hooking up, and then you develop preferences because of that. So now niggas ain't enough because you had more than you technically should have been experiencing on both sides of the field, right? Casual hookup culture is the detriment to.
I used to be okay with a casual hookup. I used to be okay with having this one person that, when I want to get my rocks off, I go see him and,
We
Tyrone.
always there, right? Tyrone,
Tyrone theory.
Tyrone, I guess.
We always there, but see what happens now. You
But
got
now
preference because
I don't do that. Now I actually feel like I'm disrespecting myself if I go, like, I'd rather just not do that.
But see, before you had all those experiences, the guy who would mediocre dick, but it was a really good-hearted guy, you probably would have been comfortable building a life with. But then you've tasted some sexual experiences that he can't provide, and now it's like, I don't know if he's really good long-term. And that's not a really good like mediator for like longevity, but it's just like, because you've seen it all, now I'm like, kind of, it's a paradox, choice of paradox, right? It's like, now I have so many options because I've had a lot of experiences, it makes it harder for me to pick one. Because like, you might only get 80% and you're missing that other 20 and you think that you can get 100 and that's not reality, but then you kind of sit with that. It's like, damn, he's cool, but he got this, but he got the money, and then, now you're in a situation where, no nigga is enough for me.
Sex is too big of a deal. I think we make sex way more important than it should be. I don't care about sex at all. You could have the worst dick in the world. I'll still marry you. No, I swear to God.
Think about it.
still
Wait.
messy.
Wait, how old are you?
I swear to God, it's not.
No.
I'm 28, and I feel like I've had the best sex
You
I've
got another 50 years to go.
Listen.
Another 50 of some good sex.
I think I've had the best sex I will ever have in my life, and I might be wrong.
You can't get married.
I might be wrong.
That's tough for
You
your
can't get
husband to
married.
hear.
That's what I'm
Tough.
saying.
You know what I'm saying? This is my point. As a man, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do I open a car door after hearing that?
What do you do?
How do you open a car door after
Do
that?
not say that.
I can't
That's
do
not true.
nothing.
But that's what I mean, though.
But that's what we mean.
Is that easy word?
Now I don't care if you're bad at sex, because like that's the last thing that matters
so
to
listen,
me.
that's cool, but I don't want to know that as your man, right? I don't want to know that your best sexual experience was in college or with another dude, and maybe when it is boring, you flash back to that. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't, but
Yeah, I just feel
But
like
as a
I'm
man, you
someone
feel
as
like
a
that's where your
person.
mind
that's where my mind will go, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you might not even tell me that, but if a dude is perceptive enough, he can kind of see it in your vibe that you're not really having a great time.
And
I
you're
feel like
asking
for
a
me,
man-
sex is not important at all. Like I've always just been like that. I don't care for sex. Like,
So
I
when
really
you're doing
don't.
it, is it hard for you to be intimate with the person? Does it, or you know, I don't want to get too personal, but
No, for sure it is. I feel like because I don't care about sex, like it's like the last thing I care about, and especially if somebody makes it a big deal, it's like a huge ick for me.
But you're asking a man to come and commit to you and only you, to be faithful, to be the 6 foot, 6-figure man, to be all these things. He gotta be the gang member,
he gotta
turned
be Jesus.
politician. He gotta be
That's
all
your
this
type,
stuff.
6 foot and.
He's just making an
Oh,
example.
Nah, but come on, that's y'all type though. Y'all don't date short niggas though. I mean, no
I
disrespect
don't
to
know. I
short kings.
dated short niggas.
You prefer short over tall?
No, I don't say I prefer it, but
What's your
you know,
preference?
like the guy that I put all the effort into was fat, overweight, short, and balding.
That sound like you settling though.
No, I was happy as fuck.
But why would she sign? Because he ain't 6 foot.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like
Let me take it back.
But I'm
my bad,
also
my
like,
bad.
I'm not like, I don't think the way that most women, I think, in my generation or my age group think.
But this is the thing. Women are asking men who become top tier men, be faithful, and then what you get is a woman and they say, you won't be the best sex that I've ever had. That's
Not
a
true.
tough. That's
not
tough.
what I was saying.
That's
I was
tough.
just saying like,
You gotta. You're not gonna be that.
He said it ain't gonna be that.
And he gotta deal with that after making him into him
For 50 years.
for 50 years. So that's why men are saying, yo, it's not worth it.
No,
It's
but
not.
she wouldn't say it like that. I think her annoyance would be like if the guy's number one priority is sex, right? I think that's where your
No,
annoyance
but I'm
would
saying-
be.
because
It's
I'm
a
not gonna
lie.
tell the guy that I'm dating that I've had the best sex, that I think I've had the best sex I will ever have in my life. I'm not gonna tell the
But
guy
I'm
that
just
I'm
saying,
with that.
if you can read body language, I can tell that over time. Maybe you've been dating 2, 3, 4, 5 years. In that span of time, I might be able to see that body language and be like, damn, she not really enjoying it. She not really screaming like that. She not twitching like that. You know, no, for real, because
Men are perceptive.
come on, we're
Men are
perceptive. We see that
because-
stuff. So while you know, maybe you could be dry, you're not making the faces, you don't look intimate. Over time, I'll see it. And if I'm not a self-respective guy, then I'm like, you know, maybe I don't care. But if I am, I'm like, damn, girl, you're not interested. And then you're gonna have the conflict, and you're gonna have to deal with that conflict in your relationship. And then if it slips out that, you know, you had better dick 5-10 years ago, you know what I mean? It's tough for a dude's egos to
I was
bear,
about
I
to say, I
guess.
think it's an ego thing for
I
men.
didn't
if
mean
they're
it like
feeling
in that
that
way though.
No, but it's like,
because
I want to please you. So I want to know that I'm doing my job if we taking it there. And I know like this is a part of what I call the fuel of a relationship, right? Because you're only having sex with your partner. So that has to be like the best experience because I'm doing it just with you and nobody else.
I don't
So I
mean
wanna
it
make
that
sure
way.
you're
Like,
happy.
like when I said that, I mean it like, okay, I've already had the best sex in my life. That doesn't mean that the guy that I'm with at that time can't surpass that, can't equal it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just means that it's not a big deal. Like, it's not the most important thing. I'm not
like
saying
you had it and you're not going crazy over it.
yeah,
anymore.
like it. You can give me better sex than my best experience. I wasn't saying it's impossible for you. I'm just saying like it's not something that matters to me because I've already had the best sex, and what else came from that? Like there wasn't. It was just the best sex. Like.
Yeah.
I don't have that mindset to be like, oh my God, I had the best sex of my life and I need to have that type of sex for the rest of my life. I don't care for that.
sex isn't a deal breaker for you.
It's
Whether it's good or
definitely not.
trash, it's like I
It's
can still deal with
definitely
it.
not.
Do
I've
you think
dated a
most of-
guy who was not packing at all, who was very small.
But I'm
and
saying,
he
but
made
how
me
long?
very happy
Because
sexually.
I just think like in the long term, you might come back to bite you. Like, all right, well now that I got the other things and the sex is mediocre, and then over time you get accustomed to those other things, and now you're like, damn, well I wish I did have some, because then you know you're not accessing other niggas no more. 7-10
I
years
think
into
those are
relationship.
the people that prioritize sex, and sex really matters to them. Like, I
Okay.
think I could go the rest of my life right now with never having sex again, and I'd be so happy. Yeah, I could. I really could.
You'd be so happy.
Yeah, I could.
Come on, that's your friend. No, I don't know.
I could be happy.
I'm not judging nobody because I don't know if this is true, because that could be true.
I haven't had sex in almost
Some
2
people
years
put
now.
But this is
the
the
belt
thing.
on and
If
call
you
it a day.
find a man that you're emotionally connected to, and the emotional connection is just you feel like that's your soulmate, you're not gonna want to be compelled to have sex with him because I think
You
you're
want to blow
speaking
his
from the-
mind.
That's
No,
what I'm
if I
saying.
find the person that I want to be with, I'm going to want to have sex with them. All I'm saying is that if I don't find that person and I don't have sex for the rest of my
You're
life,
good.
I'll be okay. Like, I'll still be the happiest version of myself.
Do you think that most women?
But maybe that's what's wrong with our generation. Like people are just like,
sex.
Well, yeah, that's
That's
part
what
of
I'm saying, the
what.
casual hookup culture is fucking us
What
up.
the statistics say is that when women are experiencing more sexual partners, it becomes harder for them to pair bond with one man. Biologically, we weren't designed to be running the streets like that. So women, I think they find after a woman has like 8 partners, it becomes like significantly hard for them to just say, I'm gonna just be with one guy for the rest of my life.
for sure. I think
sexually.
women also like, like if a man tells you he just wants to have fun, why are you gonna sleep with that guy if you want a relationship? Like, it's like you shouldn't even be having sex with 8 guys. You should be having sex with the guy that wants to be in a relationship with you. And if that guy that wants to be in a relationship with you is not in your life, don't have sex. Like, that's where you fuck it up for yourself.
It's more from having friends of the opposite sex, men or women.
Men.
Oh, wait, hold on. I want to understand the question a little bit. What you mean benefit? You know what I mean? It's jump right to it. Them niggas over
It's always them.
It's always them.
All right. Do you think women benefit more from having male friends, or do men benefit more from having female
Like benefit
friends?
like in life, just in
Just
general.
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna answer it how I understood benefit to mean. I feel like men benefit more from having female friends because females are much more like, I feel like they're more intentional about their friendships. It gets deeper, like emotionally supportive wise, advice, like constructive criticism, things like that. Like, I've spoken to a bunch of men who would feel that their friends have done a bunch of weird stuff and they've never told their friends. Like, if it's just like medium to minimally weird, they'll just be like, okay. It has to be like really egregious for them to say something. And I feel like, to me, women are much better at being like constructive and like honest about what they're feeling and what they feel about you as a friend, things like that in friendships.
That's tough.
So I feel like from that perspective, like supportive and like learning from your friend and growing from your friends and things like that, I would say men definitely know more. I don't know if that's how you meant it though.
That's how I meant it.
Okay.
Annabelle, what you think?
I think that men benefit more because women will be friends with a man and really be friends with them. Men will be friends with a girl and really want to fuck her. So I feel like
That's true.
that's
But
why.
all right. So all right. But
That's
given
true.
that, given
that-
that same point though, it's like, all right. Well, as a man with female friends, like, what is she doing to better my life? I mean, yes, she could be there from an advice perspective or a listening ear, but I feel like as a woman, if you have a male friend, even if he's in that position, he's willing to do for you. You
Like
call,
what?
You call him when you need
Oh,
to
in
move.
okay.
He gonna come help you move.
You're right,
If
you're
something
right.
crazy happened, he'll stay at your house in the car waiting in case you had a bad robber situation.
That is
coming
true.
through.
Yeah.
He will put himself in harm's way for you, right? And even just as a friend, because men are stoic in that nature. Like, oh, that's a homegirl. I'm gonna make sure she's safe. I'm gonna make sure she's straight. I'm gonna walk her to her car after the
I
club
agree with
tonight.
that, but
as
the
a friend,
intention-
right? But I'm not. But I mean, so you're getting more out of the friendship from that perspective, right? Something that a dude might only do with his woman, even if you have a woman. He might do that for his woman's friends just
that's
because,
true.
you know what I mean? Like, that's just the nature of a guy there. But I don't think men will get that in return from a woman. So I do, in my opinion, my personal, I just believe that women benefit more from the opposite sex. Because men are
I
willing
feel
to
like we're
do more.
maybe
Even,
valuing different things then.
but
I
even
do
but
agree,
even in a
'cause-
situation where he's trying to just be a friend for the cheeks, he's gonna put up into that relationship. He's gonna invest in you, even if it's we go on dates, I'm gonna pay. You're not my girl, I'm not gonna pay. But if I'm just even there, I'm still you benefiting from
That's
that.
true. That's true.
You know what I mean? So you do get a lot extra, a little more extra for sure. I don't think women are doing the most like that for just their male friends.
I agree. I think when men have female friends, they provide protection, provision, and leadership to the woman. You're
Right.
out with a man, you protect it. Somebody come and smack your ass,
Yep.
it's a fight happening. If the bill comes, most of the time men are gonna come in and pay for you, provide for you, put you on a table, whatever. Leadership, they'll provide you with advice. If you got a problem with your man, or if you got a problem at work or something like that, they'll provide you with advice. I think that's the thing that men provide women. The other part is there's no real feminine equivalent to chivalry, not because it can't be, just because society demonizes it. If I'm at a female friend's house and her trash is full and I go take her trash out, that's honorable.
I'm
if
not
I'm
even
a
looking
female-
at my male friend's trash. Like, that's not my business.
You're not looking. That's what
no,
I'm saying.
genuinely. Like,
you wouldn't do that. Or if
yeah.
I said, "Oh, I'm at my female friend's house," they'll say a woman shouldn't touch trash if a man is around, but a man shouldn't touch a pot and pan if a woman is around. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, I don't think my best friend.
That sounds
is-
crazy.
I go over her house. She's like, "You hungry? Let me make you some food."
That sounds crazy.
That's
They're gonna
not
say,
for my
"Damn."
guy.
You
this
think
is-
she does or does
I
not?
know for my guy friends.
that's
But
not
that's a
experience
culture
that I see.
thing.
That's okay.
That's
And
not
Society
like
looks
a-
at that as crazy.
Yeah, American society. I was gonna say that's
That's
a
what
culture
we
thing.
live in
'Cause
America,
I cook for my
unfortunately.
friends.
You know what I mean?
Is
My
that
bad.
in your
But
culture?
But
You're
I
saying
like cooking, so it's just like
So you cook for your male friends if they
Yes.
come over your crib?
yes.
I say that's sweet.
I
I respect that.
think I think I could say like in the past month I've probably cooked for some friends probably like 6 times already.
That's rare.
So
But
that's
you
what I'm
like
saying.
rare
to
though.
cook. Like,
But
you
also,
in the
yeah, you like to
kitchen,
cook.
That's
I don't
rare.
think. Didn't
Like
you say
you-
that women think that's slavery now?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah, no,
you're
but that's
you're a
fucking
rare breed.
stupid.
But you're saying that's because of your culture specifically.
I don't know. I guess maybe it might
Like,
be
I will
different,
say
but
this,
yeah,
I
I'm just
do
saying,
not
like,
love
that's,
to cook.
That's wrong.
I would
like,
prefer to clean for sure. But for my man, I'm absolutely cooking.
I'm
like,
cook-
that turns on.
But for
100%.
your
I'll
male
clean
But for your
my
male friend though, that's the
Your male friend, what are you doing?
If I'll be a good
I
host
would
and
help
order.
my yeah.
you don't order shit that he got paid for when
He
he get
paying,
here.
yeah. He paying, he tipping
gonna
the
pay when he get
driver.
here.
I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
cooking for my male friends. I think, but the
That's
thing
a
is,
culture
I don't like to
thing.
cook.
But
So to me, it has to. You have to be there. in
I
my
don't like to
life
move
for
heavy
me
shit
to-
either. But I'm just saying, if you needed to get some shit moved,
How many
No,
female
I-
friends have you helped move?
You're right.
How many female friends have you helped move? That's tough. Moving is tough. I gotta hold a bed up. Yeah.
Just moved, and when you
See?
thought about that, yeah, a bunch of my male
Bunch of
friends
niggas came
definitely.
through.
Yeah.
They definitely helped.
Yeah.
They definitely helped.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
But-
fair.
So if we revisit the question, you know what I mean, what are y'all newfound thoughts based on?
You
some
might
of
be
the
right. Men
information?
might benefit from being friends with women.
Yeah, I feel
I'm
like
sorry,
from an
women
emotional
women might
perspective,
benefit
though,
more. That's what I meant.
Which is how I understood the question at the beginning, or not understood, but just like interpreted.
No, but
yeah.
I love my female friends for
Yeah.
that too. Like if I have girl problems or
Like,
like
do you
life
feel like
problems.
if you had to choose between your male friends and your female friends, just those two groups, no one else.
All
No.
day. All day. You ain't,
Wolfpack.
you already know my.
Wolfpack.
You ain't got to finish the question.
Wolfpack. It's not even close.
It's not even a question.
Yeah, that's not even
It's not even a
close.
question. Because
Wolfpack.
listen, it's not about just what they gotta offer. It's more so that my fellas understand the plight of what I'm going through in this world.
Mm.
Would you
Right?
pick
A
your-
little
your guy
more
friends over your
than I
girlfriends?
think my female friends might. Like they know the experiences of a black man in America. And
You would
if
pick
I'm
your guy friends over your girlfriend?
No,
You-
but,
you would.
but at
That's
the
what I'm
beginning,
saying.
that's why I said men benefit from female friendship. I think females go deeper, more constructive. That's
deeper
why I
with
said
who?
that.
Deeper with who?
I think in their
with
friendships,
themselves?
period. No, I've been giving my friends all types of male friends all types of advice.
I think
But
y'all
I'm saying,
just, y'all
but
just
also-
expect more from like your female friends than men expect from their male friends. Y'all like unload on females. If a girl don't show up to your birthday party, the friendship is over.
That's
like
weird.
men don't
Girls are
view
weird.
friendship the way that y'all view
such
friends.
a weird way to live. If you're a girl who gets mad at your friend
Yeah. Y'all
you're
do that though.
over
Not
the
all,
birthday,
but
you're
I
weird.
hear that a lot.
I'm
That's
here
the
to
thing.
tell
Y'all
you,
go on a trip.
I'm
Y'all
here to
come
tell
back.
you
Y'all not
bitches.
friends.
Yeah, I
Stop
hate
being
that. Why y'all?
delusional.
That happens.
It's drama. It's
No, that was true.
No.
But you hear it though. So my bad.
So what would make, all right, men, what would make you be like, that's not my friend no more? What would it have to take?
I mean, from the guy.
Like, you as a guy, this man is no longer my friend. What would it take?
I mean, it depends. Maybe I loaned
Give
him
me some
some. Maybe I
examples.
loaned him some money. And he didn't want to pay me back.
it's money or women.
Yeah,
It's
money.
money too. It's
They loaned him
simple.
some money. And he didn't want to pay me
It's
back.
money or women. That's it. If you f up my money,
Yeah.
we not friends no more. If you do some shady shit with a woman I'm dealing with,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You operating behind my back. You know. Yeah.
that's
I mean,
it. It's not. If you don't show up to my birthday, I'm not about to stop being friends.
I
Like,
was telling my girl, I was like, listen, if my homeboy, we ain't talking 2-3 months, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm not gonna be like, damn, bro, you don't hit nobody's phone, man. Damn, you don't fuck with me for no. We can go 2, 3, 4, 5 months not speak and then get back together and hang out like we were just here yesterday.
that could be your best friend.
That's how
That's
it
your,
should. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I don't like that with someone.
I mean, not everybody like. Some people get emotional. Then you don't check in on me.
The people that do that are weird. You need to grow the fuck up. We're adults. We have lives. We have jobs. I don't have time to talk to you every fucking day.
I agree.
It doesn't mean I have beef with you. Like, what the? You're delusional. Delusional.
Women fight. You didn't comment under my post.
That's true.
It's like it gets that deep. Like men don't get into that type of level of.
We have different ways we get mad at each other. Y'all got like a little more petty with it. You know, it'd be little stuff. Missed the birthday. She didn't text you on Valentine's Day or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some?
I'm not
what are
friends
some
with
areas
women like
y'all
that. I
value
stay
your
away from
female
women like
friendships?
that because
Oh,
those
what?
type
Oh,
of
my
women.
bad.
I was saying I'm not friends with women like that. I stay
Alright,
away
so
from women
that's
like
the
that
best
because I feel like that's literally delusion. Like there's something
Thank
wrong
you.
with
So you prefer like male friends or?
No, it's not that I prefer male friends. I just don't hang out with women that are delusional.
Okay. Okay.
No, you
But I might say I might prefer my male friends. My male friends are. I have more male friends than
they're
women
a little
friends.
more logical. They think with a little more sense.
Guidance.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
my
a,
guy
there's a
friends
place
aren't
for
getting
both of
mad
it.
at me.
Because I
I don't know
respect
about all that.
I respect the emotional awareness that like my female friends bring to me. You know, but then there's a time and place for that, and there's a time and place for some logic where you might need some male friends that think a little
No,
different.
I do appreciate
had
the
bad
very simple, like,
experiences.
it was just this, period. Men, they be having
Straightforward,
their little,
straight,
like,
yeah.
one-liners, and that be the other.
There's
I
a
do
time for
appreciate
that, like the poetic, you know, consultation. Oh, damn, girl, I'm sorry. You know, and there's some time you need some straightforward, like, girl, you was on some shit.
But what do you value your female friends for? That's what?
Oh, that's a good. Yes, that was your
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
why. Yeah. You said you. What'd you say?
What did I say?
What's your?
You know, he ain't say nothing.
No, what
I
I
can
value.
go.
No. What I value my. Let me put some thought to it. What do I value my female friends for? I mean, I don't have a lot of female friends. You know, maybe under a handful, and well, actually, my close female friend, she's an engineer, so it's kind of weird because she kind of thinks like men to a degree. She's a little more logical in her thinking. So I value her perspective a lot because she's really biased when it comes to like I go to her for a lot of like female advice, you know, and she's kind of biased because she understands the emotional side of being a woman, but then she's also kind of logical in her own thinking. So she kind of like gives me the in between, like I get you, it's not all your fault, but she could work here too. But you can also see
This
this
is
too.
where you
So
could have done a little more
I
here.
I like that because she understands kind of like how guys think to a degree. And so she understands how to like deliver the advice there. I have some female friends that are kind of like far on that side of like they're really deep into their emotions. So it's kind of hard for them to see my perspective when I vent to them. And so then you have that kind of like a gray area where they might be a little biased towards women and they don't really mean to do that, but it's just, it's tough. So, I mean, to the question, I think I do value the women's perspective because I'm not a woman and I would really never really understand it. And it's really great to like be inquisitive to women to see your perspective or your thoughts or feelings on a certain situation. So let me start there.
For me personally, the only female friends I have are based on professional relationships. So if it's something you can help me with professionally, whether getting an opportunity, a job, or something like that, that's really it.
So
So you're
That's
only
not
friends with
gender
women if it
specific.
benefits
It's
you.
not gender specific.
Yeah.
No.
You're
That's not.
really only friends with women if it comes with some sort of benefit towards you. But I mean, that makes sense. I feel like you're both men in relationships, so you really shouldn't have a lot of female friends. If you're being
But you
My
can have
ex-
friends that you had before the relationship that was still kind of platonic friends that
Yeah, I'm just saying,
if your
like, he
partners have
said that-
insecurities,
most of his female friends bring some sort of
Well, he's saying
benefit
The
to you.
perspective
value is
from
professionally.
Yeah,
It was
Honest-
professional.
I don't really see any other value other than
Exactly.
that.
No,
Well, no,
I've
but
never
he's-
dealt with a man that's like obviously relationship that's had a bunch of female friends. I will say that. So
Right.
I don't
No,
think
but
that
I
y'all's
am
position is
interested
like weird.
to know, coming from someone that is in a relationship and has female friends, like what you value from your female friends. It is an interesting thing to know.
Yeah.
Because, like, some guys genuinely have female friends and they're in a relationship and it's not,
platonic or
yeah. And
But
it's,
to
Yeah.
your point that you
There's
mentioned,
little
it's like
use, it seems, honestly, low key.
Hey, what you mean? There's
yeah,
a
but
use.
and
There's-
the fact that it's just professionalism, I would agree and like that because
Me
that's
too.
how it
Come
should be.
I'm
But-
your girl.
That's how it should
but
be with
again-
in a
I'm a-
relationship.
yeah.
Just talking to women in general, it's still good insight to like into your world.
No, I get
that
it.
I don't know about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, even though it might be professional, they might have candid conversations,
Right.
and it might lead him to learn a new thing or two about things women
Like
do.
both of you said one thing, and it's not to minimize the one thing. Both of y'all said great things, but y'all both each have one benefit.
Well,
Well,
the question was one. The
But
question.
no, but I get it. Like it
But
makes
I
sense.
weigh benefit
That
on
sucks.
both sides, right? If I'm providing you protection, provision, leadership, and you're providing me with, I don't know, you just listen to my problems if I want to talk. It's not
on,
like an
that's-
equal
it's not an equal
situation.
exchange, that's true.
And
No,
then on
but
top
men
of
and women
that,
value different things in friendship. The way you were like, just listen to my problems, to a lot of women, that's like a major component of being a supportive friend.
but men don't value
that's what I'm
venting.
saying. That's the thing. We value different things in like what is like a good friend, or you know what I mean?
That's why we're saying like
Yeah.
men value the wolf pack more because if I'm going through something, I want to go to somebody that could give me a solution.
That's what it is.
I don't just want to just
complain.
Yeah, have verbal diarrhea and some. Oh, bro, I feel you, bro. It's going to get better. No, I need money.
I need solutions.
You know what I mean? I need a plate right now.
Yeah,
so that's
facts.
why men value the wolf pack situation. Two, typically when a man vents to a woman, she loses attraction and respect for him. Like,
Why do
from
men think? Somebody literally just told me that recently. A man just
Yeah,
told me
yeah.
that recently. They're like,
Probably so.
it's like you can't be too vulnerable with women
No.
because they change. That
Because
it
you
changes
guys
how
can't
they
be
view
vulnerable
you,
with
and I'm like, that's not true. And
I mean,
it's like
it's
that's
only
not
to the
real.
women that kind of use that vulnerability against you.
Yeah.
And that's what most men are talking about. Like, if I vent to you and
So
I'm
that's a
vulnerable
fear
with you,
for a lot of men.
It's not a fear. It's
yeah.
But
if
most
your
women
man-
will use it against them.
If your man
Yeah.
lost his job and he came home and he cried, would your vagina be more or less wet?
that's a truth.
That's what it comes down to. Does you
shouldn't be
seeing your
wet
man
while your man's
cry, does it make you more or less aroused?
I mean, it should be situational with those type of things.
It's just a yes or no. It's just that's what, baby.
But
I don't know what
somebody
we
just-
gonna
when you
do.
see
I
a
lost my
woman
job.
cry, you're not more
Somebody
aroused.
just
I
died
know, we're
and you're
different.
not crying.
That's
I
what I'm
might
saying.
look at
That's
you
what-
That's
weird.
sad. Like,
What'd you say?
If someone important to you just died and you're not crying, I'll be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I didn't say
Like,
death. I said he
but that's
lost
what
his
I'm
job. Baby, I don't know how we gonna make it. I don't know how we gonna eat. The lights might get cut off. I lost my job.
No,
I don't have
that's
no
weird.
money saved up.
That's
He's
weird.
crying. Does that make you
too
more
much.
attracted?
That's not
Because you're
attractive at
saying
all.
you appreciate vulnerability. You should be like, oh,
But to
I'm
be
so
honest,
glad
that's
you opened up.
that's
But
an
that's
actual.
not vulnerability.
He just let himself
Well, see,
loose.
most men are just.
That's a person that's already that's already just a negative and loser person.
Hold on,
because
wait.
any normal person, when they're being vulnerable, is gonna say, "Okay, I just lost my job, but this isn't the end. We're gonna figure it out. Thank you for supporting
If
me."
you
Well, hold
lost
on.
your job and came home to your man and cried about it, he wouldn't flinch. He would just be like, yo, I got you. I'll just find another job. I'll figure it out. Boom, boom. He wouldn't flinch. He's not going to be like, I don't want to have sex with you because you lost your job. I'm going to break up with you. Like, that's not how men think. We don't think I'm going to break up with my girl because she lost her
That's what
job.
I'm saying. Men aren't losing their job and crying though.
No,
man
but
would
they
do
give
that.
that
A man
in
is
the
gonna
example.
lose his job and try to figure something out.
But I'm saying the reason that men can't be vulnerable with women is because they know it's not going to get them anywhere. It doesn't benefit a man to be vulnerable and to cry. It's better for him to cry with his boys. If he's going to cry, either cry by yourself, cry with your
you
boys.
will cry with your
I don't
boys
think
before
that's
you cry with
true,
your girl.
because
1000%.
You're saying crying about a job.
So
You're
okay,
saying-
so
What?
what? So what? So
What?
what? So
Are you
what?
serious?
What
You're
he's,
being
no,
vulnerable.
but I mean, like, what he's saying is more so like, all right, if something happened to you, lost your job, right? You know, I'm gonna console you, and then probably provide solutions to fix the situation. Where in the inverse, you might not do the same for me. So it doesn't benefit me to tell you the
But
problem.
I
That's what I'm
would.
saying.
Because you're not
Like, I
gonna
don't
console
think
me.
that's true.
I
mean, in a sense of
A
like,
good friend.
you're not
when
gonna be
you
your
tell them
your
that
vagina not
Will
gonna get
you
right
be
for
more
me.
attractive?
No, but I don't think you want that either if you my man.
No, but
that's not the
but,
focus right now.
But see, but as a man, if
We gotta
you're
get
a
right.
traditional man, we take pride in making sure that everybody that's with us is taken care of. So
right.
when you're crying, it's our duty. All right, you know what? It's
You
time
go
for me to
into
step up.
solution
I go
mode.
into solution mode. I'm gonna get my girl right. She's gonna be good. I don't want my girl feeling no kind of way. We take pride in making sure you're great. And the inverse is saying it's like you might be like, man, why this bitch nigga crying like
And I'm
this?
not gonna
I wouldn't do that.
You
I'm
need
gonna be
him to
honest.
be strong, and so you feel some kind of way that he's pouring out to you like this. And you're like, man, I don't like that.
If you were on a cruise
think
and the
that's
captain
true.
was crying as the ship went down, would you feel like more safe or less safe?
No, but that's a man I
But
don't
why
know.
are you
but
crying?
right, this is
No,
your
wait,
job.
But this is my point.
Wait. Is there something inherently
a
wrong with
captain.
crying? Does
Yeah,
there
no,
issue?
she-
All right, let's break this down.
Because
Yeah,
crying
yeah.
is so. Who's wrong with
Can
crying?
men cry?
men
That's the question.
I just said
Can I cry?
that
That's
though.
true.
I just
This is
said
it.
that though. If you're crying because someone died, I'd be okay with that. You're crying because you lost your job. What the fuck? Get it
Well,
together.
if I'm the sole provider, not to say the sole provider, but I'm the main provider of our relationship. That has implications on everything, right? So
I'm just
our
saying,
whole
like-
situation could go to tank. We can lose the house, or I can lose the car. I can.
Let's say
so
you
But
pay
if
I'm
you're
allowed-
already
I'm-
there,
I'm-
if
I'm
that's
paying
where
for-
you're at, and like you're the provider, and that's how you think, and you just lost your job, you're not gonna be crying. You're gonna be like, okay, I just lost my job, but let's figure out what's next.
I mean, no, that's
what I'm saying,
the
like-
natural trajectory. But I'm still a human being, so I still can feel
Now,
overwhelmed.
if
But
you
this
shed
is-
a tear and you're
I
like,
can-
I'm overwhelmed for it, like,
Yeah.
but if that's okay, that's
But this is the
fine.
reason
That's
I
what-
tell
that's
men.
what-
This is
But
the-
I'm saying you just woohooing.
I'm not. No,
because
you
lost your
you
job.
slicing it. It's not like I'm just
Yes,
coming home
But that's
boo-booing.
what,
This is the
that's
thing.
what it seems
That
like.
ain't about-
Though.
this is the
That's what
thing.
you guys are
The
making it
reason-
seem like.
No.
Like that you can't just boo-hoo to us, and we're gonna if you boo-hoo to
And we
me,
come up with
my
this-
vagina gonna be dry as shit because you boo-hooed.
But-
like
Hey,
no,
yo,
that's
but listen,
not
there
true.
was a-
You can cry and you can be vulnerable, and I'll be okay with it.
No, this
But
is
I'm not
this
gonna
the-
let you like boo-hoo and be like,
I mean, he's gonna bring solutions to you. That's not the thing. It's just
The issue is, what I tell men is because every woman is different in terms of what they accept emotionally from a man. I just say don't cry, don't vent to women at all, because what you might be accommodating about, you might not be accommodating about, vice versa. If you feel like a man can't cry and lose his job and she does,
Wait, I have a question. You won't give him the night? He can't be sad that night.
thank you.
I didn't
Just
say
that.
that.
Bring some
I'm curious.
some
No, I'm
reasonability.
There you go.
curious.
I literally did not say that. I just said you can cry. Like you can cry, but why? He was making it seem like, oh, I just lost my job. I'm boohoo crying. Like I can't figure this out.
So,
And that's
you did a
fucking
bad job
loser.
playing the scenario.
That's not a
Have you ever
provider.
watched
How's that a bad
Insecure?
scenario?
We
Like,
didn't,
that's
I mean,
on
apparently we
average.
didn't paint the. We're talking about my bad. I'm gonna let them talk.
That's not a provider.
I get what
like,
you're saying.
I'm just saying he painted a scenario.
but if you came home and you lost your job and you're crying to me about it, you're like, oh my God, like I just lost my job. I'm a little overwhelmed. Like I'm gonna be there for you. But like if you're like, oh my God, I lost my job, boo hoo hoo hoo, like.
well, what's the difference between those two scenarios? Like,
That's
I'm
what
just saying, like,
men don't cry like that. Men aren't emotional like
Because
that.
we
Men
know
don't
it's not
even
gonna get us
think
nowhere.
like
but
that.
see, that's what I'm
It's
That's
not
what
saying.
I'm
that you don't
saying.
We
want to
are
be.
emotional. We're human beings. We do feel that way.
But my
society
point
has
is,
pushed us to
that
not-
Society
men are
raises-
emotional in a different way. A man isn't going to cry, boo-hoo, cry because he.
Not because he can't. He just society tells him not to,
Society
and it makes you feel like a
demonizes men
bitch
that
if you
cry.
do. And so you don't get any points for doing that. You're better off not doing it. And so
I'm
it's not like
just
we
saying,
don't
I'm
want
not
to do
judging
it.
you if you cry as a man. I'm judging you as a man if you cry boo-hoo.
And
Like,
that's it.
Wait, hold on. What's the difference in the two? I'm just still
That's what I'm saying. I just say don't do it at all because there's so many stipulations.
That's what
on
I'm
it.
saying.
No.
I don't think there is. I think
What's
the
the-
If you my
stipulation is
man,
literally
you
that.
could cry to me like
But what
for
man-
real,
but what
boo-boo.
man-
I'm
But
mad,
you say that, but she
somebody
don't-
I'm
she's
dating,
not-
All right, hold
I'd
on.
be like,
'Cause maybe we're confused
I've
because.
had men cry to me before, but I've never had a man literally boo-hoo
Okay,
cry.
hold on.
But that's what-
So
Coming
she's
out
saying
his nose.
if he's got snot out his nose and he tearing
But
up,
TT said he can have snot out his nose.
can he have snot out his nose? Can
My
he really
man?
bubble up, like bubble it up?
Bubble up.
My man, yes. You're not about to do it every night with no solution.
No. But
Boo-boo.
that's not what we're saying. We're just saying,
Okay.
I got a phone call. I lost my job. I'm overwhelmed in this
You got,
moment.
you got
there
one
for
night.
you.
I
You
cried
got
on
one
his
night.
shoulder.
Too many regulations.
No, I would
Of
be there
course.
for you. You don't lose your job every day.
Let me
Right,
tell you
that's
something.
what I'm saying. But if I'm crying, snot bubbling, like,
But if
that's
you're
a
an
moment.
emotional
You can do that.
All right,
You
man, that's all I want. That's all I want.
You got
I
one
don't
night
want it.
though.
That's
You're
all I
not
want.
gonna do
That's not
that.
what I want.
It's
It's too many regulations. And plus, she
Too
will
many
lose
regulations. As a man, why do you want to boohoo cry so much?
I'm not saying
That's
men
so
want.
much. She got one
I'm a
night.
human being,
That's
yo.
what he's saying. Like
And
he
this
wants
is
to
the-
be able
and
to
this
do
is the
it
reason
without
why
it being
men
an
are-
issue.
This is the reason why men are depressed. Because this is the thing, right?
Niggas can't even cry.
Society says one thing. Oh, be a man. Get in touch with your feminine
Control your
side.
buggers.
And then you do it, and your girl goes, and she like, nigga, I thought she was him, and he doesn't get anything from it, right? So you see the dichotomy. Society's saying one thing. Your girl's not going for that because biologically, y'all don't want to see y'all man boo-hoo
No,
and
it's true.
cry.
I want to see my man boo. You know why? Because I can't complain when you don't communicate afterwards. Then.
Thank you. Come on.
I'm gonna be
That's what-
honest.
and that's the
if,
truth.
if I want you to be communicative and vulnerable and whatever, it comes with all of it. I'm not gonna make you turn it on and off. Absolutely not. If
Will
you're
you
having
be
a bad
more
day,
aroused after he cries?
I'm not aroused.
You
after
shouldn't
lost
be
your job.
aroused.
And that's
You
my-
should not be
That's the bingo
aroused.
card. That's it.
But
That's
you
it.
shouldn't be aroused.
but
Why
not be-
do?
but
Why
I'm
am I
sad with
horny
you.
while you're crying?
I'm sad with
Like,
you.
why am I horny while you're crying? That makes
Period.
no
No,
sense.
not like
directly after. I'm not saying directly while the tears still running down her face.
tears running, my
The
shit
makeup
drip.
is fucked
Yeah,
up.
nigga,
Yeah, right. Nah, that's not it. I'm saying as a man, right? If your girl cries, that doesn't make you lose attraction for her. That doesn't make you lose arousal. It doesn't make you be like, I'm gonna break up with my girl because she cried.
No, I will be
If,
honest.
if a man
That's true.
boo-hoos Annabelle, you leaving
You
him.
think he's weak?
You're leaving him
You
because
think
you're not
he's
gonna be
weak?
able to look at him as him anymore.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's
I'm
situational.
calling my man with any
I
minor
feel like
inconvenience
it's
in tears.
situational. I feel
Babe,
like
this
it's
just
situational.
happened. Nothing.
But
and men can't, don't feel like they
but
can
why
do
can't he
that.
have
Women
as
are
many
emotional,
often
men are
opportunities?
not. Like,
No, we are emotional. We do feel
no,
emotions.
I didn't say that you don't feel
do
emotions.
feel.
I'm just saying we
I
feel.
did not say you do not feel emotions. I said you're not emotional, meaning like you see what not being emotional doesn't mean you don't have any emotions. It
Like-
just means that it's not heightened like it is for women. Women
No,
are
I agree.
emotional.
No, I agree. I agree.
Men are not emotional.
But let me ask you this, right?
I'm not saying you can't have emotions. You can have them. But it's not heightened like it is for women. Women are hormonal and emotional. I do not expect a man to be hormonal and emotional. I expect them to be more in control of their emotions.
No, we're violent.
But this is the thing.
That's what we
You-
are.
nobody controls emotion. You have to process emotion. So this is the thing. What you're saying
No,
is
facts.
men just need to like clam it down.
No,
What's
men just control their emotions better than women do overall in general.
So what would you say is your advice to men who experience hardships, depression? Like what should they do? If they can't come and talk to their girl, if they can't boo-hoo with you, what do they do?
That's why boo-hoo to me. 'Cause who
No,
you
but
gonna go to?
but you said I can't boo-hoo every day though. And I'm not saying I'm trying to boo-hoo every day, but
No,
I
but
do
if
go.
you're boo-hooing
If you're
every single
boo-hooing
day
every day,
just
you need
about
a
the fact that you
therapist.
lost your job,
You need a
not like that, but
therapist.
it could be in different
different
categories.
but what's going on?
If you're boo-hooing every day in general as a person, you need to seek
Let me
help.
say this.
Yeah.
All right, let me say this.
Yeah, we'll say that.
You need
There's
to talk
a-
to somebody.
So
So
is
let me-
that's just for men, or that's
No, because I
Oh,
was
in
just about
general.
to say that.
General,
I've been
like-
definitely,
'Cause
I've been
you
in
were just-
times where I've been boo-hooing every day and I'm calling my man every day. And he's not looking at me like I'm just unstable and she needs mental help or
Right.
whatever.
It's just
and
like,
maybe
you
I did in
going-
that moment, but in his head, it was very much
not
like, I'm
thinking
supporting you,
she's broken-
period.
she's a broken person.
Yeah.
Right, but
And
if-
I don't know if he would have ever felt that same way if he was really like down bad emotionally. If he could call me every day crying, probably not.
Well, let me say
I
this.
just
With
So
the-
I get what you're saying.
I just can't imagine that men actually want to be able to boo-hoo cry.
Right.
And that's
Rasha-
also what he said.
Well, hold on,
Like,
watch it, watch
yeah,
this,
I don't
watch it,
have
watch
that
it.
need.
Go ahead.
It was
It's about to be deep. Damn. Go ahead.
all right. It was a book written by, I believe her name is Nora Lyles. It was a
Yeah,
New York
yeah,
Times bestseller. She was a feminist who believed that like, oh, being a man is easy. I'm gonna disguise myself as a man for a year because it's so easy, and I'm gonna write about it.
What time period?
It's a few years ago. I think 2017,
Oh,
2018.
Okay.
She does it. She disguises herself as a man for a year. She goes through it. She writes about it. She ends up unaliving herself because she couldn't reconcile how hard it was to be a man. And then she goes and writes about it, and she's like going to therapy and all this stuff. And she's New York Times bestseller book. She could not reconcile what men go through because she actually got to see how men treat other men and how women treat men, how dating happens for men as opposed to how it happened for her. She couldn't reconcile it. She actually unalived herself. So I think women don't understand like what men go through.
Maybe that's to your point though.
And that's my point about like if a man, you know, the whole control your emotions thing, it doesn't really lead to anything long term. The unalive rate is the highest for men that it's ever been in history, right? All
Yeah.
these dating statistics that I mentioned, like men aren't getting relationships with women. Like shit is hard out here.
Yeah.
So if a man can't come to his girl and vent, which I say he shouldn't, then I'm saying, okay, what do you do?
If you don't want to vent to your girl, you should have a therapist. Like, I mean, but I think a lot of people think therapy is like for people that are messed up and need help. Like, no, I actually think normal people should see therapists. Therapists are cool. Like, we should make therapists cool again because there's nothing wrong with that shit. If you have no one to talk to, you can't even talk to your girlfriend, talk to a therapist.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I just think that women should do the work. Because to be honest, it's
But,
like,
yeah, you should be
if
able to
I'm
talk to your
choosing you to
girl.
be my life partner, I'm choosing to count on you for a lot of
That's
things in
how I
life,
feel
right? It's
too.
me and you
Yeah.
against the world.
For sure.
So I should be able, I mean, I got my wolf pack, of course, and you got your girls, but it's us. And I want to be able to lean on you for those things. And it's like, damn, I gotta go pay a nigga to cry too. You know what I mean?
But that's
You know
what I'm saying.
When
You
I
should
got,
be able to lean on your girl.
That's what I'm saying,
I'm just
and-
saying, but he's saying don't. He's saying.
but you say,
go
but
to-
y'all saying y'all gonna leave us on cry.
Based
That's
on
what
what
I'm
you're
saying.
saying,
Like,
based on if he
If the
can't
I
be
want to be able.
snotty
That's what
nosed,
I'm saying. I want to be able to cry.
he may need to be snotty nosed sometimes.
Yeah,
he may
That's
need
okay.
that.
I said that's okay. It's okay for you to be snotty nosed.
Maybe
I'm
just-
just
maybe
gonna
just
judge
seasonally.
you.
You're
You
saying
know?
under certain circumstances.
Because you say a nigga gotta
If he
die
lost,
for him to do
yeah,
that.
if somebody dies, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's acceptable. But like,
You guys are literally saying you want to be snotty nosed whenever you want.
I
Every
was
time
just
you
about to
cry,
say, I
wanna
and
be
I
anything.
just
No,
don't
but I'm just saying,
How do you
but
think you
No
would
one's
feel
saying you can't
afterwards?
be snotty
What?
nose
Snotty nose crying
crying.
in front of your girl, you feel like you would feel like she thinks of you as
See?
less of a man?
See?
Is that what?
Yeah.
For
That's what
real?
yeah, but
But
not
I
that
don't
she
think
thinks
all
was like.
women are gonna
But
think
that's
of
how you would
less
feel.
than
You'll
a
be in your
man.
head about
I
it.
If
would
you
only
make me
think
feel
of
that
you
way.
less than a man if every time you cry snotty nose crying.
But
Like,
you can cry every day and it'll never change.
But
Come
I
on,
don't
hold on,
cry.
don't-
Well, when I cry every day, I'm not snotty nose crying though.
right,
But
I-
even if you were, let's just say hypothetically you
I
were.
was
you
depressed
just,
before and I cried for like 6 months straight every day.
To your man or
and I made
somebody
my
you was
man
dating.
miserable as fuck. And
But did
I
he
was not
leave you?
snotty nose crying.
Did he leave
He
you?
did leave me.
Did he leave you for crying?
No, hell
Oh,
no.
man.
Hell no.
No.
That's
Ain't
my
no
point.
way.
We're not
He
gonna get
didn't
into
leave you-
that, but like, no, I
He didn't
wasn't
leave you for crying, is what I'm saying.
I'm not gonna judge you for snotty nose crying if something happens to you. I'm gonna judge you if you snotty nose cry about everything and you're emotional, and every time you cry, you're a snotty nose crier. Because that just means that you don't find solutions. You're not like a positive thinker. You don't find your way out of things.
Okay, well let's
And
make
you
this. Let's make the story that like he is, but it's just those moments of him losing a job.
Then
maybe
that's
his
okay.
dog
You lost your
died.
job. I
Just
should
like
be
life
there for
events.
you.
Know what I mean? Not like every day, but just life event. But it was like maybe 7, 8, 10 times a year throughout that year, scattered throughout that year.
You
that he
had some
these
bad
moments.
luck and you had a bunch of traumatic things happen to you 7 to 10 times this year. That's okay because those are traumatic things. It's crying about everything and always snotty nose crying that would make a woman judge a man and think of him less than a man. But as a woman, if you're judging your man because he cried because he had traumatic things happen to him and you're not attracted to him as much, you don't really love that man because that shouldn't be a thing.
So what's the solution? Like,
I do want to ask this one question.
Oh, go ahead.
Like, do you guys see men being vulnerable or crying as weak? Is that like use like a character flaw? Like, oh damn, he doesn't seem emotionally strong or put together.
I actually tend to think that the men that refuse to cry about anything are the ones that are the most damaged.
Yes,
Those
I
are the
don't see
ones
it as
that
a
have the
weakness. I
most
see it as a
problems.
strength. But
Yeah.
I have never dealt with a man who's snotty nose crying every day.
Okay,
So
maybe we can hung up on the snotty
I've
nose.
dealt with a
I'm
man.
just talking about just
But in
emotional
general,
person,
I'm
like,
thinking like my man's probably cried like if you cried throughout the course of years, a handful of times, I
Right.
feel like to me that's a strength.
That's
Str-
normal.
strength.
That's a
I've had
strength
a guy
because you
cry to
trust me.
before.
These vulnerable things, these big things have happened throughout that time, and you confide in me to talk about it,
so
right?
so here's the point.
But I cried 100 and million times.
So to his point, the less I cry to you, the more strong I seem.
The less I cry,
The less I cry in front of you, the more strong I seem.
that's true.
No, but
No, that's not what she
no.
said. I don't think
Because
so.
no, I'm just saying to the degree of like, all
because that
right.
could mean you could cry 0 times, and I'd be like,
No, but it's to the ground. Like, all right, well, if I cry 5, 6 times, it's okay. A little bit, maybe to the 10, 15 side is too much. But it seems like the closer I am to 0, 1, 2, 3, you have a lot more.
But
like,
I feel like cry 5, 6 times plus communicating when you're down bad, no tears,
I mean, I can
right? But
communicate when I'm down bad,
communicating,
too,
like,
but-
then that together is a positive. I feel like if a man doesn't cry at all,
That's
if a man doesn't cry at all, but is communicating about when things go bad, you lose your job, you come home for whatever reason, you're not crying. Maybe you cry to your homeboys, but you at least communicating to me about, hey, I'm feeling down bad. Like, my mom is waiting for this bill. I'm feeling down bad. No tears, but you're talking to me about it. Strength too. I think communication is the big piece. Vulnerability is the big piece. If crying comes along with it, cool. If it doesn't, cool. If you not talking and not crying, you are not processing your emotions.
What he said, where he said you should not cry to your girl, I don't agree with that. Like, if you don't cry to your girl at all, there's something wrong communication wise.
Yeah, of
Yeah, but I mean,
course.
I can still bring solutions.
If you
still
don't
cry
feel
to
like you
though.
can cry to your girl or be vulnerable with your girlfriend, you guys shouldn't really be together. Like, you
Well,
should
I'm
be able to be
saying-
vulnerable with the person that you're with.
I'm saying because each girl has their own stipulations on it, and there's no way to know exactly
So
what
as
your
a man,
girl will
you
be.
want to tread
I
lightly.
mean, just
maybe.
It's
That's
just
what I'm
talk to
saying,
your
yeah,
girl.
yeah,
safest bet is
You
to
should
just
talk
not
to your
do it.
girl and know if your girl is the type of girl.
She may
So,
not
I
know
mean-
until it happens.
so,
she
all
may
right.
not know. I thought I could handle it, and then it happens, and now
That's
I
so
can't.
true. It was a girl who
That's
was
what my friend said.
who was a
That's-
UFC fighter, and she was like, it wasn't until her boyfriend, who was also a UFC fighter, got punched in his face,
saw
and
that,
she
yeah.
watched it, and she was like, not for me.
She broke
Oh,
up with him.
really?
She broke up with him
Because he
after the
got
fight.
knocked
Before that,
out.
she thought she would be
She,
cool.
I mean, they was both UFC
was-
fighters.
yeah.
They fought. She loved that man. She said it was the best man she ever dated in her life. But she watched him get punched, and he was like, "Oh shit!"
The way he
That's
fell back.
The way he fell.
That's what she.
That's
the way he
shallow.
fell.
And if he got knocked out this way,
And
it could dealt with
She
it. but
said it. He
got
was
knocked
like,
out.
"Fuck you." It would
That's
be cool.
shallow as fuck.
I'm just
That's
saying,
what, but that's
though.
what happens in the real world.
So what he's saying is that
Y'all
like
are
we don't know
dating
where the
wrong
limit is.
Men do have
women.
We don't know where the
fear. I
limit
get
is, and then we have fear. Like, all right, you know what? Let's just not do it all together because I don't know the limit.
Y'all
But
are
I feel
dating
like
the
when
wrong
men cry in
women.
relationships, it be like, well, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. It must be like 4 years in or something.
Men don't
Like
cry
you're not
very
crying year
often.
one, not year two. I feel like it takes a minute. It really
I mean,
does.
if you're an open dude and you're in tune with your emotions,
Unless,
it's
of
not.
course, something crazy happens the first year y'all dating. God forbid your parents died. That's something different.
Yeah,
of
right. You
course.
might cry because of that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. You might not
fine,
cry
yeah.
because something she did.
No, yeah.
More
That's
so,
what I
'cause
mean.
you're not
Like a more normal reason.
Yeah, you got to be a more emotionally attached to her. To
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
comfortable
Like, I
crying
know
in her
men that
face.
would cry normally if their mom died, if a family member died, but he's not
Yeah, but
crying if
that's
I cheat
different.
on
No, that's
him.
different.
He's not gonna cry if I cheat on him.
Well, I mean, that's tough too, because
That's tough.
That's tough because if I loved
That's
you,
tough. That's
if I really loved you for
He
real,
really loved me.
and
If
you-
I cheated on him, I don't
feel-
think he
'cause
would
it's
cry.
more about the
I think men will cry.
It's
They
more
really
about the
love
betrayal.
a girl and you cheated
It's
on
the
them.
betrayal.
I think they crying.
like,
yeah.
damn, I must be a
Cause
bitch.
I thought you was my girl.
I thought I
Like,
had it locked in.
it's
Men
different when
don't
y'all
cry.
cheat. Y'all
But
like
I'm
him.
just saying,
Yeah,
I
it's
know,
different.
You
So,
ain't
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
just for the fun.
I know men that will feel all that betrayal and still not cry over something like that. Like they would only
mean-
allow themselves to cry over like a death.
I mean,
very
some of these men
close.
were
Nah, I think
trained
men
in
is-
that way to like
And
restrain
that's
As
wrong.
themselves.
a
That's
man, you're
wrong.
trained.
I
Boys
think
don't
you should
cry.
be able to
You hear
cry.
that? You hear that all the time?
Yeah.
Boys
You
don't
little
cry
boy,
is
stop
how
crying,
you're-
little,
crying.
stop crying.
You're
Get up.
raised
acting like
like
a little
that.
girl.
We train them since birth to not cry.
And then you
so,
grow up as a man, you don't know how to process emotions. So then you turn violent or you
Yeah,
turn
that's
to
what's
doing
wrong.
crazy things
That's
because you don't
definitely
know how to
wrong.
actually process emotions in a healthy way. And that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying is like society tells boys, don't cry. And then they grow up and they hold that same mindset.
A lot of men have that problem.
Yeah, because it's more manly if you don't cry. That's what we've been told.
Yeah.
You know, and it shows up too. You cry in front of girls, they leave you. So it's like it's better to hold that in.
But the other thing about this is that you can have emotions and communicate without crying.
Yes, you can. But my whole point is, what is wrong with the act of crying? Like, why is there? You know what I mean? Like,
But
no,
even
I'm
as
just
an
saying,
adult, as a woman-
like, 'cause I can still be a solution-based dude and cry. It doesn't take
You
away
can.
from me being solution-based.
You can.
I'm just saying, is the act of tearing up itself a sign of weakness? It's like if you
But
see
it is
somebody
for
tear
any
up.
adult or woman. Any woman that cries every day is someone that's not solution based.
I mean, so you could maybe you're just more prone to cry because you feel more, but it still doesn't take away
This
from
is
you
the
being
thing.
a solution.
This is what it
I'm
is.
just saying,
Crying
like,
represents helplessness.
Yeah,
Is that what
And
it is?
any man that seems helpless is
it's
not
unattractive.
attractive.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a man, your whole image is based on being powerful, being dominant, having
Resourceful,
competence,
yeah.
being resourceful. If you look helpless, that is the last resort. So you look weak.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what it
That's
is.
what I'm trying to
And
get
people,
to.
nobody respects weak men,
I
men
had
or
a
women.
comment. Somebody just said, "I've been betrayed, felt pain, and never cried." A man.
The man?
Yeah, he said
I
facts.
mean-
I've been betrayed, felt pain, and never cried.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're stronger or weaker because you cried or didn't cry. You know what I mean? Some people might have a friend die and not cry, and some people
But that's
might.
my
It doesn't
point.
necessarily
That men
mean
are not
anything.
as emotional. Like men
We
can
are emotional.
feel.
It's just we process it
No,
differently.
you have emotions, but you can get betrayed in the same way as a woman, and the woman would boohoo cry, and the man would be betrayed and feel the same amount of pain.
No. But it will come out a different
but
way.
it's not
It'll come out a different way.
crying,
The
yeah.
nigga on the street gonna get punched in the mouth randomly because I'm upset.
Yeah.
It'll come out differently. You know, not just I don't tear it up, but he might do drugs, be alcoholic. It might lead to other things. So it's like, yeah,
Men should be able to cry.
we should
I don't
be,
think
but
it should
publicly
be.
it's not acceptable.
That's-
Publicly.
I'm not just talking about like just in general, like outdoors, like
Oh,
not like
that's
in the
what you mean.
streets. But I'm just saying, like publicly, society doesn't really
Society doesn't
accept it as for men crying. You
I
know?
wanna close this up.
Sorry.
Can I get a time check? What time?
It is 4.
Yeah. It's about
Damn.
time. Yeah, we was. It was good. We
It's
had some
good.
fun. I was having fun.
All right. To close out, I want to ask. Right now, what's happening is that a lot of women are choosing that marriage is not necessarily for them. Statistic came out from Morgan Stanley that said by 2030, almost 50% of women will be single and childless. Right. The other statistics I mentioned about men: 50% of men aren't approaching women, and 63% of men, have quit dating. Right now, it looks like men and women are prioritizing marriage. What are your thoughts on how they can do that, if they should? Like, how do you get men and women to want to marry and create nuclear families again? What are your thoughts on that? I know it's a big question, but
You said
Morgan Stanley,
Where is
the
that?
financial institution.
financial institution. I wonder who like they ask these questions to, like what type
So-
of people they are. Because if you really look at it, it's like the hip hop culture that is mostly the dating scene, that stuff that we be talking about. But like white people are still getting married,
Not really.
and other countries are still very much relationship and family and marriage oriented. It's America that's jaded.
So Italy actually, for the first time, they call it the replacement rate, the rate at which babies are being born in accordance with how many people are dying, right? Like, how can you replace
They're
population?
retiring.
That's
people.
not a bad thing though. It's not.
This is the
Oh,
first
well.
time in history that the replacement rate is declining. So
Yeah.
there are less babies being born than people dying, which means that the population's decreasing. Italy just published it. The U.S. is going through the same thing. To your point, Morgan Stanley published this because they're telling their investors what to invest in based on the fact that women aren't getting married. So invest in dog food, invest in cat food, invest in boxed wine.
Yeah.
Here are the things to invest in because women are no longer marrying.
I don't
That's
think
what
it's
it came
such a
from.
bad thing, to be honest with you. For one, the population is supposed to naturally deplete and increase. Can't avoid that. But for two, like we have so many women that are stuck in relationships and with children that, you know,
Yup.
stuck in marriages, or you know they have children with people that the relationship didn't work, and they have like regrets and emotions that you can't even express. That's fucked up. So it's like we avoid that. There's less people being born into single families, stuff like that. I don't necessarily think it's too much of a bad thing, because
I mean,
especially in our generation.
the world we live in today, right, is based off trade. Everybody works. It provides us this lifestyle that we do live. Now, if that replacement rate gets so low that we don't have people replacing the people retiring, there's no longer people doing those things. So then you have a societal collapse because we don't have anybody to replace those jobs. So no more getting packages, no more food, no more of this, because we don't have people to do those jobs. That is a problem, because then life as we know it all changes for us. If not, inflation goes crazy high, everything becomes 5 times, 10 times more expensive.
But has it gotten that bad?
No.
Yeah, in China, it did.
I mean,
In China, they put a cap on how many children you
Yeah,
could
and that's
have.
why.
and
because
that's,
it
that,
wasn't-
that, that
Yeah.
fucked up their society.
No, what happened was it wasn't enough men for the women.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. Women needed protection and provision, and it wasn't enough men to provide that. So they put a cap on how many kids you could have because the population was going in a different
With the
direction.
preference for
men?
boys.
You said there
Yeah.
was not enough men for the women?
Right.
So they put
So-
a cap and then preferring sons.
Right.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because it just wasn't enough men.
Yeah.
And then when you don't have enough men in society, that will make a society collapse. We see a lot of times, like, they say weak men create tough times create strong men create easy times. So if there aren't enough men in society, that will make a soft society.
I
You
will
can't-
say this though, if the stat that you talked about is focused around women and what they're doing with their lives, right? I will say, like, I'm definitely the type of person, like, I want to get married, I want to have kids, I want to have like 4 kids, like nuclear family, me for sure. But
Oh, that's what's up.
I will say that, like, a lot of those women are probably much happier than the prior generation of women, like you said, in unhappy marriages, or just feeling like, oh my God, biological clock, or even like societal clock. I'm 26, 27, haven't met my man. Like, I feel like women now settle because of that, like prior generations. I feel like women now have less pressure in that sense. Like, being like the rich single auntie is a thing. Like, that's a trend. Like, you spoiling your nieces and nephews, you out with your dogs and your cats and all of that.
So-
like, I feel like those
Are
are
they
things
talking
that
to those women when they 45, 50s?
They did, and
They
Vivica
talk-
Fox
Like,
is
what
the
they say? I actually
example.
don't know.
Because
What
that's
are
what I'm
they
saying.
saying?
Because
So
you got
Vivica-
the long term. Like, go my bad.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
No. You already you said
Vivica Fox is the example. Vivica Fox was one of the hottest things in the street when
Right.
she came out. She just did an interview a few weeks ago saying, "I'm 60, I messed up. I
for real?
should have locked in something when I was younger. Now I'm open to anything. I just want to get married." Vivica Fox is the example of what it looks like when a woman prioritizes her career and thinks that she could find a man based off that, and it doesn't work out. And you turn 60 and you have nothing. And what we found is statistically,
So
the
short-term
women,
happiness is what you're saying
If you-
for those women.
when women prioritize career over
Mm-hmm.
marriage,
But then
Right.
what about the women that prioritize marriage over career and they're so unhappy, and we have so many of those?
I don't think that's the case. What we found statistically is that the most depressed person in the society is a woman that makes either $100,000 or less, 43 years old, single and childless. That's the most depressed person. If you had to take a statistical point.
To your point, there's no absolute. So there's going to be people in that same regime that like aren't winning. But statistically, that is like the closest way to get to something successful, right? The nuclear family, that's a success. So if you can get closest to that, there's a lot of people are going to lose because it's just the situation. Just like, you know, you want freedom, you want to protect it. There's a Second Amendment, but there's people who are going to kill each other. But still, it's still the better option for everybody to be able to protect themselves. So it's like, yes, it's unfortunate, but, you know, I don't know.
I say that's in general, what we find is men prioritize things and women prioritize people. That's why you see women go into career fields like teaching, daycare providers, being a nanny, a nurse, and those types of things to deal with people, because women prioritize family. And when women have kids, the kids become the most important things in their life. So when women aren't prioritizing kids and having kids anymore, what do you think happens to them? Like from an emotional standpoint. And what we're seeing is this is the time where women are on antidepressants the most. This is the time where women are depressed. This is the time where women are going through a lot of trauma, even though this is also the time when they're making the most money and they have the most opportunity to advance. It doesn't make sense, but it does make sense because they're not doing the thing that biologically they were wired to do. There's a reason why you carry kids. Like from a biological standpoint, the kid comes out of you, you have a physical connection to the child. And we've tried to re-engineer society to make women believe that, oh, you should really be a career woman. Like, don't prioritize family. When really, from the beginning of time, women have always been biologically designed to prioritize kids and family.
But what happens to maybe it is a short-term happiness decision then for those women in that age. Because like you said, maybe when they reach 60, they'll be like, oh, wait, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah, life gets hard.
But
I
in
just
the
feel like
meantime,
I know
happy.
so
Life
many
is hard.
women that are divorced with children from a failed marriage and they're depressed.
Yes,
and
me
I know
too. Me
so
too.
many of those, and I don't know any women that are childless and no kids in their 30s and 40s that are depressed. The women that I know that don't have kids and aren't married and never been married are actually happy as fuck. And they're making a lot of money. Oh, yeah, they're happy as fuck.
It's more Tia Mowry's than it is the other way. There's more women that went and tried to do it and believe that I'm going to divorce my husband for no fucking reason and go back in the streets and be Tia Mowry. There's more of that, and they end up being depressed than it is what you're saying, I feel
I
like.
do believe that. I do think women get divorced too easily, too, sometimes.
7 out of
I
10
think
women
we need
initiate divorce.
I think we
What'd
need
you
to
say?
fight for marriage.
7 out of 10 women initiate divorce.
We need
8
a-
out of 10 in the black community.
Oh,
So as a
wow.
man, if you hear that there is an 8 out of 10 chance that the woman is going to initiate a divorce, I'm going to lose half of everything that I've ever earned in my life.
What's the point?
Prenup.
That's
The
that might not
prenup
save
doesn't
you.
always
That
protect
might
you.
not
It
save
doesn't
Well,
always
you gotta
protect.
get a good lawyer. But I did not know that.
Marriages
Wow,
definitely
that's
end way too
crazy.
fast these days because it's like people are like, oh, I got cheated on, I'm gonna get a divorce. And it's like if you ask couples that, like, you ask old people that have been together for years, like 50, 60 plus years, you ask them what made them last so long. Most of them say forgiveness, and half the time they have dealt with infidelity at some point in their marriage. Like
And
the
you, like,
marriages
fall
that
out of love
I'm not
and
saying
re-fall
it's
in
okay
love.
to cheat on your partner. I'm just saying like we need to fight for the marriages more than we do now. Like people are just so quick to get a divorce over certain things, and it's like
I
We
think that's
shouldn't
what's
do that.
missing
Yeah.
is we don't do relationship well.
It's-
It's just transaction.
everyone
It's
just wants a perfect person. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I deserve the
That too.
best. I literally deserve the best of the best. I don't deserve to get cheated on, so I'm going to leave right now. And yes, you don't deserve to get cheated on, but it's like you have a family with this person, you've built so much with this person, you're really going to throw it away because they cheated on you.
But what if that man don't want to be in a
If
relationship?
he continues to cheat, obviously leave. But it's like, I don't know. I just feel like we don't fight for things anymore. Like
There's no fight because there's so
there
many
is no
options.
fight. Nobody wants to fight.
It's
Exactly.
too
That's the delusion,
Why
though.
fight when you can leave?
There were so many options. Why was everybody stressed out?
It's the perception of options.
It's the perception of
not
options. There's really no
good-
options.
It's no good options.
It's really no good options.
It's just options. It's not
It's
good
just
options.
options, but because there's options, it makes us feel like it got to be something in the haystack.
Yeah.
It's a lie. It's not.
Let me get a quick lightning round, closing thoughts. What should men and women do to successfully date, successfully get married in this climate?
I'll spark it off. Intentionality. I'm gonna say that's my statement for the whole night. be more intentional with your dating. I always say with a dude, you taking a girl out, you're being intentional, you take the initiative, you pay. As a girl, only accept the date if that's what you see is a good candidate for you moving forward with. Otherwise, we're just playing around with each other. You know, so be intentional with what you're doing, how you're moving. In every aspect of your life, you should be intentional. Move with purpose. That's my little spiel.
Okay.
I would say be transparent and be realistic for both men and women. I feel like on the transparency piece, I think a lot of people in the beginning, like you said, are not like straightforward about what their intention is in like the dating situation. Some people really aren't looking for relationships, men and women, and they're not really saying that at the beginning. Sometimes men be not trying to say that because they know the women want to be in a relationship and they want to keep them around. And then all of a sudden we said we wasn't together and this, that, and the third. Like, I feel like those little games, that's childish. Like,
That's so crazy.
Just be transparent from the beginning. If that means you lose out on the other person, that person wasn't for you in that stage of life, then that's fine. And the realistic piece, I feel like a lot of women can't be on some like, my man needs to provide and do this and pay for everything. And when my friends come, pay too. When I get home, I don't gotta cook and clean and do nothing. And I'm just like chilling. I think that is like, well, for the right man, that's what it is actually. For the right man, you'll be perfect. You can't really have those expectations on a, like you said, regular man. Like that's not really realistic. And then from a man's perspective, I feel like men think very like black and white. Like we said in the very beginning, like virgin or town whore. There's like many women in between. No one's gonna be perfect. You really have to be realistic about life and be self-aware that you're not perfect either.
Right.
On
Facts.
both sides.
Yep.
And just move forward with that.
Okay.
That's
Annabelle?
For me, I think one big thing people need to like remember, we need to like bring this back, is that love is forgiveness and sacrifice. It always is. It always will be. Like without forgiveness and sacrifice, you don't have real love.
Facts.
Forgiveness is like such a big thing. If we don't learn forgiveness, we can't save marriages. We can't save relationships. We can't forgive people. Like forgiveness is a big step. Another thing is accountability. So many people lack accountability. You got to be accountable with yourself. And I think one big part is that like women will have a guy tell them, I just want to have fun right now, and that girl thinks that she can change his mind and get him into a relationship.
100%.
The second a man tells you that he just wants to have fun, the second the
That's the
man tells
transparency
you he
we're
just
talking
wants
about.
to have fun, you leave him alone because you want a relationship and he wants to have fun. So if a man tells you he wants to have fun, he just wants to have a good time, he's not ready yet, he doesn't know what he wants, all those things, move on to the next one because he doesn't want a relationship. And he just told you that. So stop trying to change a man's mind. That's never going to happen. Like, you cannot do that. That's, like, a big thing for me. But then also, men are also scared to tell women the truth. Like, oh, I want to have my cake and eat it too. I think as women, we also need to be okay with men telling us things like that and not getting mad at them and then just accepting it and moving on to the next person. Like, you can't get mad because a guy tells you that, you know, like...
You just want cheeks?
Yeah. Like, Hari,
I mean, it's facts. I just want a fun time.
that's all he wants. So, you know, let him have that with somebody else if that's not what you're willing to provide. And if that's not what you want, move on to the next person and respect yourself enough to let someone tell you the first time.
Yeah.
And don't cry about it after it happens and you let it happen. Like,
No, yeah.
and I've always been that way. Like, you tell me you just want to have fun, I'm going to leave you the fuck alone because I don't want to have fun. I want a relationship. I want a fucking relationship.
All right.
I think I agree. I think men need to strive to be men again. I think society has made men weak, and we need men to be men again. I think if men strive to be more competent, to be more physically fit, to have higher earning skills than women, I think that's the first part of the issue, is that we need more qualified men. In the meantime, until that happens, I think women need to be more accommodating towards men's situation and to seek men based on character and integrity more than anything else. I think a lot of times women prioritize a man's money and all these things that don't really matter for a relationship more than the things that matter for 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
Character, integrity, that's who you are as a person. That doesn't change as the money comes and so on and so forth. So That's my 2 cents. I appreciate y'all for coming out. And
Yeah.
this is What They Won't Tell You podcast.
Stay tuned next time.
Peace.